What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO Episode 9. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the OK Beast, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
What's up, Greg?
I'm crust.
Crust? Like pizza crust?
I wanted to say crestfallen. And then at the last second, I thought about crushed. And so it became
Do you want to just restart this? What's up?
No, hell no. What am I? You
keeping
think I'm
this
going to
in.
hide the... This is how the sausage gets made,
You heard
people.
it here first, people.
Somebody
Greg
make a
Miller's
Photoshop
crust.
of Greg
20
as
seconds.
crust. I want a pizza I want a pizza illustrated with the crust, but it's Greg Miller's face is the crust.
So I'm the... Okay, yeah. I am crushed and crestfallen, Blessing Adeoye Jr. As we were going live here, it came to my attention as your number one Division II fan that the Warlords of New York expansion is live early.
Oh.
So I
is
jumped
it live
in
right
there.
now?
Yeah. Jumped in there,
Whoa.
started playing it. I'll talk about it when I've played later. Started playing it, and then I was like, I can't wait to get home and play this. And then I remembered the horrible truth. I have to fucking watch Shazam tonight.
Oh. That's
fucking
horrible.
goddamn
You
in
know
review.
That's a
what?
bummer.
You know what?
What?
Shazam is a fun movie.
It's a fine movie.
It's a fun movie.
It's fine.
You're
Has there ever been a
mispronouncing
fun DC movie aside from
It's called Shazam.
Harley Quinn in The Birds of Prey?
It's called Shazam.
It's not even what it's called. You know what I mean?
The Harley Quinn
It's not a
movie?
bad movie. I'm not taking it. I'm just saying, like, you know how much I don't want to watch movies that I don't
True.
that I've seen.
Yeah.
Old movies old. What do I got to do?
I feel you.
Maybe I can just read the Cliff Notes and piece together the plot from that, you know?
Honestly, do you think you could come in and just not watch the movie and people
I was
would
thinking
tell?
about it because it's Billy Batson, gets moved around a lot, gets adopted with this family. They have some fun lines. They all
Like,
wanna,
I've not watched the movie, and I
forget
feel
if they
like I could show up on the podcast.
I think
and
they
give
all
a
go in
recap.
the center, right? And he doesn't go in, but at the end he does go in. Spoilers for Shazam. But then he defends his new kid brother at school who's obsessed with superheroes. And then he runs and he gets in the train and then he gets transported down below to the wizard's room. And the wizard's like,
He's a wizard?
You're new Shazam, yeah. And he's new Shazam. And then he's Shazam for a while. Meanwhile, the bald guy's doing something with Shazam's powers. And then they fight. You know what I mean? I have the big picture items for Shazam covered.
Yeah. I haven't watched the movie. I feel like I could do it.
Oh,
I feel
really?
like I could be like, oh yeah, there's a kid. He gets superpowers.
Let me
turns
tell you,
into
whenever-
Shazam, has
whenever-
to save the day. Save the day.
Whenever Tim comes up to you, he's like, "Do you want to be in an review?" Just keep saying no, because it just means you can't play video games and it sucks.
Oh,
You
I
know what
mean, I've been requesting if there is an interview that I do want to be on, it's Edgar Wright in review. So have me on that. But yeah, everything else, I'm good. I don't need to watch movies.
No, you got games to do.
Exactly.
We got games to talk about, including answering The Last of Us Part 2's burning questions, PlayStation's live event future in light of the coronavirus, and so much more. Because this is kind of... No, it isn't. God damn it. What show is this?
It's PS I Love You XOXO.
I'm trying to do the new... we talked about this last week, where I'm trying to do the intro,
Yeah.
find its own rhythm for it. So this is the fun part, where it's the first 9 episodes. What the fuck am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. This is PS I Love You
We'll get there.
XOXO, episode 9. It's your PlayStation podcast where we come together each and every week, talk about all things PlayStation, have a great time. If you like that, be part of the show, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. You can go there, give us your questions, comments, concerns. You can submit your PSN profile for judgment. You can just hang out. Plus, you get the show ad-free along with the exclusive post show that has happened 8 other times before this. So if you went in right now, backed us for the first time, you'd have all that content to watch. Boy, howdy, would it be fun. Am I right, Blessing?
Oh, I feel
No
you're
ads
exactly
either.
right.
Be having a great time.
Yeah.
Be out there just bopping around, doing a...
Talking about Cat Williams.
Woo-wee.
I guess I was like,
no, that's on the show for everybody.
yeah.
I'm
Well, no, that was
crushed.
before we started.
Oh, well,
Cat
was?
Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah, we talked about
that's
Cat
not
Williams
even the,
before.
that there's a little bit in the front. It's, this
Yeah.
is confusing. Don't worry about it.
It is.
Basically, I'm saying go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. If you can't, no big deal. You can go to youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com. Podcast services around the globe each and every Tuesday. Get our PlayStation podcast in your ears, in your eyes, wherever you really want to get it shoved in.
All
You know what
right.
I mean? Blessing will shove it wherever you want him to
I
shove
love
it.
PlayStation.
Some housekeeping for you before we dive in. You should be like our Patreon producers. For this month of March, we got Mohammed, James Hastings, Evan Ballard, Steven Insler, Sancho West Gaming, Duval King, Jabub. Is that how you do that one?
Chabub.
Yeah.
That's how I see. When
Jabub?
I read names and I'm like the other version seems like it could be risky. I usually go with the safe version. And Jabub seems like the safe version
Okay.
because otherwise it's Jaboob, and I don't want to like mess it up and have Jaboob be the thing.
Sure. Cody Banks, secret agent. Trent Berry, Max Blair, Julian, the gluten-free gamer, Tom Bach, Nano Support, Michael Bradley, and Joseph O. Youssef. Today we're brought to you by our sponsor, Me Undies, but I'll tell you about that later. Blessing. For now, start me off with the X's and O's.
Do you think Nano Support is nanobiologist, or do you think that's somebody else?
Somebody's coming in and getting on his territory?
Yeah,
the
the nano
very
family?
small territory?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's that, and then there was another biologist. Remember when there was a plant biologist for a while?
Was there really?
Yeah. In the Kind of Funny cinematic universe, there's all sorts of trials and tribulations that people go through. You know what I mean? And I'd love to read the event tie-in book for a nanobiologist where he's fighting off nano support.
And the other biologist.
Yeah, and the other the plant biologist.
So we have 7 items for
a
X's
lot.
and O's.
That's a lot of
It's
X's
a
and
lot.
O's.
It's a lot.
Also, do you want to make it 8? Because I got breaking news for you.
All right. Yeah, sure.
First episode of PS I Love You XOXO where I didn't wear a PlayStation shirt.
Oh.
I borked it.
Wow.
I'm off my game.
Wow. And I
Could be playing.
I'm wearing Kingdom Hearts as kind of PlayStation.
That counts.
Yeah.
I count that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just wearing a beer shirt. Whatever. Beer is good though.
That's item number 8. Item number 1. Did Coney
Did Conan.
Did Coney in 2012 come back?
Did anything ever happen with that?
No,
Did our
the dude
hashtag-
he was caught on the street.
He was a
jerking
bad
off.
guy, right?
Yeah, I think.
That's how I remembered. Is that Coney was a bad guy? But
Well, no, Coney was a bad guy.
He was.
The guy that started Coney 2012 was also like shady, I think, because the whole thing was it was like it used to be an issue, like Coney was an issue, but I think that by the time he started it, I don't know if things had resolved, but there was stuff going on with the Coney 2012 move. I digress. Did Sony kill GDC? That's number 1. This comes from what we've been reporting on for the last couple of weeks, right? All the pullouts. GDC, we talked about this morning on KFGD, right? GDC put up their statement that I'll just read here, right? After close consultation with our partners in the game development industry and community around the world, we've made the difficult decision to postpone the Game Developers Conference this March. Having spent the past year preparing for the show with our advisory boards, speakers, exhibitors, and event partners, we're genuinely upset and disappointed not to be able to host you at this time. We want to thank all our customers and partners for their support, open discussions, and encouragement. As everyone has been reminding us, great things happen when the community comes together and connects at GDC. For this reason, we fully intend to host a GDC event later in the summer. We will be working with our partners to finalize the details and we'll share more information about our plans in coming weeks. Right. This comes off of Sony being the first to pull out of GDC.
Far from the last, though.
Far from the last.
Yeah.
They were the first to kind of start the wave. Right. The statement they gave to GamesIndustry.biz a few weeks ago originally went, quote, "We have made the difficult decision to cancel our participation in Game Developers Conference due to increasing concerns related to COVID-19, also known as coronavirus. We felt this was the best option as the situation related to the virus and global travel restrictions are changing daily. We are disappointed to cancel our participation, but the health and safety of our global workforce is our highest concern. We look forward to participating in GDC in the future," end quote. Greg.
Yeah.
Did Sony kill GDC?
No, that's a ridiculous question, and I'm offended you even brought it out here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How dare you, sir? How dare...
They were the first to pull out.
Yeah, but it's like, even when you look through it, right? I'm looking at WindowsCentral.com. Here are all the companies that have pulled out of GDC, right? Sony was the first, but Facebook and Oculus announced on the same day as Sony. This is according, you know. So, I mean, like, right there was trouble afoot. But, I mean... It's Facebook, it's Oculus, or Facebook and Oculus, I should say.
Yeah.
Kojima, Unity, Electronic Arts, Microsoft, Epic Games, Unreal Engine, Amazon, Activision Blizzard, Gearbox. Like, there's a whole bunch of people that pulled out. So,
Sony being that first domino, though. Also, Sony pulled out of PAX before this, which then could have alerted Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, we need to get on this one, right? Yeah. No, it's an interesting question.
Because my question then would be, if Sony wasn't the first to pull out.
You're talking about another universe.
Yeah,
Sony goes to PAX. They do Last of Us.
Sony decided, hey, we'll go to PAX, we'll go to GDC. We won't, we're going to stick to plan as usual. And even say, Facebook also. I guess that is like keeping in the first domino. But let's just say Sony, right, doesn't pull out. Do you think the rest of these companies that have pulled out over the last week still pull out of GDC?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. I think maybe. Yes, it's an interesting question, but it would have been somebody else would have fired off the flare. Now the question is you're bringing up: did they kill it? Did PlayStation kill it? Is valid because they are they were the first to really raise these concerns in our sector, right? And be like, hey, we're not going to go do this stuff. These conversations were happening already, but it was PlayStation, right, with PAX East and then with GDC to really be like, well, we're the ones who are making the headlines by doing this. But there's so much more to it, I think, than just them. Because if you're going to say in the question, did PlayStation or did Sony kill GDC, right? Mm-hmm. If Sony killed GDC, why didn't Sony kill PAX East? And I think that there's an argument that they're different shows, and this isn't even the argument, this is the truth. They are different shows.
Yeah.
They are for different audiences. They have different clientele. And I think that's the biggest thing about it. It's the fact that GDC is so global and happening in a town, San Francisco, that did just declare a state of emergency about this and does have coronavirus in the Bay Area, NorCal area.
Do you think if GDC was in Seattle, it would be a different story? Or
I do.
GDC
I think I think it's the same thing we were talking about earlier today, where it's like, what is this right now? If we're on the heels of E3, what would happen? Where would that look like? And I think the fact that PAX East just happened, and even though Britt from What's Good Game is on Twitter right now going, hey, anybody else wake up with the PAX plague? And it's like, let's see.
Dude, I've been coughing all day, and I'm
God
like,
damn it,
oh
dude.
no, is this state of emergency?
You got
really good. What was that, Barrett?
He said stay home.
Stay home.
It's not.
He
like-
really doesn't go out, though. Oh, you mean stay home from work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sick.
Yeah, that's
okay.
how-
That's very convincing.
It's just respiratory stuff, you know.
Oh, shit, that's not a
Oh wait, that's
coronavirus.
how it starts.
Yeah, it's a big part of it, you know what I mean?
It's just coughing.
No. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Right now, first off, don't any of us sneeze right now, and you're like, oh, God, here we go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I went out to dinner on Saturday night, and it was that thing where I should really wash my hands. I'm obsessive compulsive like about my hands and be clean. So I should really wash them. And I was like, yeah, but I really didn't. I haven't touched anything really. Like that's, and I'm like, it's that back and forth in my head. And I'm like, I won't. So then I ate, and then I got home, and I'm like, I feel sick.
That's the same thing for me. Where this morning actually, I went put gas in my car. Was touching like the gas like handle or whatever, right? And I immediately go get McDonald's, and usually I'll eat the McDonald's in my car on the way to work because I'm disgusting. But this time around, I was like, I'm gonna wait to work and I'm gonna wash my hands.
I am a gentleman here.
Yeah.
I'm cultured. Well, those are all little things we should be doing, and what it is all about right now.
Yeah.
I digress. The fact that PlayStation couldn't kill PAX East, I think, makes it clear that they didn't kill GDC. I think if PlayStation swinging their weight around was that much, why Nintendo and everybody else would have pulled out of PAX East as well. But I think the fact that it's happening in Boston, that at least as of all this happening and the mayor coming out, right, didn't have a coronavirus problem. I think the fact that PAX East is a more North American show and not worldwide makes it a different thing. Because that was, again, the argument and conversation about GDC and why it has to be postponed or why it should be postponed is the fact that it's not just people from an area right now that is still more rare having coronavirus. It's the idea of bringing in people from around the globe that are going through different airports and connecting with different things and dealing with countries that have different rules for how they're handling this and what their their disinfecting plans are and how they want it to happen. So no, I don't think they killed GDC. I do think it was the loudest first shot that could be fired. You know what I mean? Like we talked about this today, right? You and me. Like Xbox, Nintendo, those are the big names in terms of what we think of for gaming. You know, I do think Epic pulling out or Amazon, those are huge things as well. But in terms of what is going to get you headlines with the mainstream gamer, like I would venture that even though this is such a horrible thing that has to happen, and I think it's the right call to cancel GDC or postpone in quotes postpone GDC. I still think that this has more people talking about GDC than ever before that didn't know what GDC was.
Yeah.
I think GDC is something that developers definitely know, industry types know, and then out there it starts getting hazy.
Yeah, I mean, even me, who I've followed the industry for quite a few years, I've been doing OKB stuff for the last 4 years.
You always find a way to mention them.
Now I'm probably kind of funny.
Yeah.
I still haven't been in GDC, and I still couldn't tell you all the intimate details about GDC.
Yeah.
Like GDC has barely really mattered to me.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't imagine 99% of people that are tuning into this podcast are probably like, well, they've been talking about GDC for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, more than ever, right?
Yeah.
I think and correct me if I'm wrong, everybody in the comments that I'll see later. Or if you're in your car listening to this podcast, roll the window down and shout it. I would labor to the guess that to the general consumer they have no idea what GDC is. And then if you are somebody who listens to a podcast like this or watches a YouTube video like this,
I feel like you barely know.
You
what
probably
GDC is.
know it even more as, oh, this is when Giant Bomb and IGN and GameSpot and Kind of Funny all have different guests on. Everybody's in San Francisco. It's like a mini E3 or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Which isn't off the market, but it's more about networking, learning, and from the developer behind the screen side, right? The people who make the games for you.
Last year I think GDC was the event where it's like, oh, okay, Google Stadia is about to reveal.
Yeah.
Right. And that was like kind of the relevance point for a lot of people of what GDC was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bummer that.
Do you think they killed him?
Down like, not really. No, but I think
other people would have left. I mean, I think Facebook would. I mean,
I think there's a compelling argument that maybe other companies don't pull out if Sony wasn't like the big guy pulling out first.
Yeah.
I feel like I could see a reality in which everybody is like people are waiting for that first shoe to drop before they actually, go for it and actually pull out. And so I could see an argument for it, but in reality, I think it's kind of like what you're saying, right? It being so international, it also being very focused on the industry and it being workforces that are showing up to GDC as opposed to a wide general audience.
Consumers,
consumers. I think that then puts sort of a slant to how people are coming into GDC, right? Like companies are sending people to GDC. People aren't just showing up to GDC. And so I think with that kind of responsibility that companies have, I could understand why everybody would kind of pull back in that way.
Yeah. Ignacio Rojas writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, to be part of PS I Love You XOXO, and says, "What's up, Gressing?" It's taken off. That's our name now. Sorry,
I don't like it.
It's too late. Sorry, you should have come up with a better one. You had 9 weeks. With Sony pulling out of PAX East and GDC, how do you think this changes their plans moving forward for the rest of the year? When Sony decided not to attend E3, the company said that it wanted to focus more on other events throughout the year. Now that we're 2 big events down, could this push them to make a bigger event by themselves than what they might have originally planned, like bringing back PSX? Could Sony come back to E3 with tail between their legs? All of these assuming coronavirus stops being a big concern by then. Anyways, as always, keep being awesome.
So we got a question in a few weeks ago, and I think it was me and Tim on KFGD that were answering this question about, is coronavirus going to cause Sony to go the route of doing a state of play for their PS5 reveal as opposed to...
So you're jumping to PS5 already. Okay.
Yeah, I'm already jumping to PS5,
okay.
Right? Because Sony is going to have to say something or do something for that console. They can't just be silent for the whole year.
No, they have to.
They've been silent for a while. They can't stick with that silence, right? So they're going to have to come out and talk about that. And yeah, somebody wrote in the question of like, is coronavirus going to cause them to do the streaming route as opposed to doing a big event? And I've kind of been of the side of I think there's going to be a state of play. I don't know how much coronavirus is going to cause them to go the state of play route, but I do think there's going to be a state of play for PS5 and that they'll have press down to come and demo it and do all that stuff. I think now, given the recent pullouts and given how the situation is kind of progressed and grown, and now we don't necessarily know how things are going to go as far as events in the next coming months, I think that lends more credence now than ever to them actually doing, like, if they have something to show, I think they're going to do it through a state of play and not show up at a conference or show up at events. I think PS5 specifically, I think they're going to do a state of play. I think it's going to be the Last of Us thing that they did last year, where they have people come out and it's not like it's not everybody in the same location, like hundreds of people, but however they sparse it out or however they frame it, have people come down, play around with the games, play around with the PS5, do all that stuff, and have it be more of an intimate thing rather than a big, giant presentation.
I think it's fascinating, and it's a great question, Ignacio, because from the moment PlayStation said that, we're going to skip E3 and instead do a smattering of other events and whatever, I read that as total lip service. I totally read that as, we're not going to E3, we don't believe in E3. We'll do these other events to focus on. I don't think they're focusing on those events. I think it's the normal, we're going to send to PAX, we're going to send, The Last of Us Part 2. To whatever else, we're going to send the destination PlayStation truck where you can play all the games outside of this stuff. There's live events happening, but I didn't think they were going to make an actual big deal about it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I do not think the PlayStation 5 is going on the road. No, I mean going on the road to like MLB events. I think it'll be at like obviously Gamescom and things like that once it's been announced and stuff and shown. I don't. This is not going to send them back to E3 tail between their legs.
No.
I do not. I definitely think this kills any idea of bringing back a PSX, which I've been saying for the entire run of this show and this year and last year. It will not happen this year, period. I don't think before coronavirus became a concern. But then it is the question of yes, what is going to happen with the PlayStation 5? Because I've been saying right that I think this is going to be a press thing. This is going to be like PlayStation 4. It is going to be a everybody come, get in an auditorium, we speak to you, we show it off. This is the thing. Go play games next door or whatever. And I do think that this throws a huge wrench in those works. Again, in the same way we were talking about what does it mean for E3, that if you pull out of GDC, what's your rationale for going to E3? Because it's the same thing to an extent. It is networking. It is people from around the world. It is also a bunch of consumers.
Yeah.
It's in LA, which currently hasn't declared, to my knowledge, a state of emergency as of recording time. Like, I think there's multiple different factors there. But that aside, you're PlayStation. You are the people who pulled out of GDC. You are the people who've pulled out of PAX East. And so then to sit there and can you throw an event? Even if you're doing it small scale, it's not even the fact that you're worried that, hey, we're gonna bring you here and one of the people serving you your sliders or whatever at this event are gonna have coronavirus. It's more the idea of the chilling effect that this is happening. Coronavirus is a threat. People don't want to travel. They don't want to put themselves at risk. And so how terrible do you feel, let alone how legally liable do you feel that, or are you, that if you throw a PlayStation 5 reveal event, you have people from, even if it's just around the country, come out, but they connect through an airport where somebody else connected with and they had contact. And like, it's the law of worst case scenarios at that point, right? It's where you start letting your mind run away with everything that could go wrong. And so I don't know how you handle it if you're them right now trying to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's that dire of a thing. Like I could still see them going with the small event. Like I don't think we're at the point yet, and I don't think we'll. And I don't want to predict things as far as coronavirus because I'm not a scientist, but I don't think we're going to be at that point by the time they want to reveal this thing that going to the airport is a fear for people, right?
Isn't it now?
It is now, but it's not like I'm not telling people not to go to the airport, right? Like I'm
Scientist Blessing Jr. Not telling you.
Well, we're not having the conversations right now. Or actually, I don't know. Are we having the conversation right now? Kind of funny as far as like previewing stuff or like, hey, are we not going to travel? You know, if we want to go preview a thing in LA or do stuff like that.
Sure.
Like how does that stuff look? Like right now it doesn't seem like that's a conversation that's happening at large. People are definitely protected at airports. People are wearing masks. Last time I went to fly down to see, I think it was Persona 5 Royal, I saw enough people in masks to where I was like, oh wow, like people are really taking this thing seriously, and that's definitely happening. But I don't think it's a big of a threat, at least in the U.S. right now, where everybody needs to stay home and chill. And so I could see them doing an event, but yeah, depending on how things escalate.
See, I am of the belief that it's going to get worse before it gets better, and I think that for it to get worse, like a month, like we're talking about, the first 2 deaths or whatever in Seattle today, right? Like if we get a month out from this, and how many more deaths will there be? How many more cities will there have been this thing, and how many, how are we handling and how are we tackling and all these different things? Yeah, like how many cases of infections are there? Like the scary ones are the ones where they're like, the Seattle guy we were talking about today, right? The kid who's just like, yep, he wasn't in contact with any of the known infected people, so it's like, oh great, you know what I mean? Like that's awesome. That's really good news that it's just happening and nobody knows how it's happening.
But like how many? And I'm gonna have to Google this, right? How many cases have been in SF or the Bay Area? And
it was NorCal. The media's playing fast and loose, I feel, with Bay Area. Barrett, am I wrong on that? Do you agree with me on that? Because you're more Bay Area than I am.
Yeah. And then there's also like there are cases being treated, but they're not from San Francisco and shit like that. So it's like kind of confusing on what actual numbers are and shit like that.
Holy cow! That's always what you want to hear.
I'm like looking up like numbers and stuff, and I don't know how viable these news sources are, but I'm reading one source that says 6 coronavirus deaths in Washington State, which I think this morning we were talking about 2,
right?
Yeah, so I don't know how. Of course, like people get panicky with stuff like this, but
that's the biggest concern, right? As all this starts happening, you worry about what's actually going on versus what's actually happening.
Yeah, the numbers are so low right now that I couldn't imagine. And I say that as GDC just got canceled because of it, but I couldn't imagine something that's smaller and more intimate being affected by this because I feel like at that point, like GDC, I understand because GDC.
That's on.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like serious.
Siri's like, I can tell you all about coronavirus.
Siri's like, let me tell you something about corona. GDC understand because that's thousands of people. That's people being congregated in this area. And Gary Widow went off on this on KFGD about how these conventions are petri dishes, and and people are getting infected with sickness left and right. Whether it is coronavirus hasn't happened at PAX as far as we know, but people are usually getting sick at these places with the cold, with the flu, with whatever, because that's just how these things go. So I understand how GDC can become affected by it, but a smaller, more intimate event to show off PS5 to just selected media, I don't. Right now, I'm at the point where I don't see that being a big deal.
I hope not. That's the thing. It's like it's that flip of the coin of where it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
Like the statement from the EVE Online people canceling EVE Fan Fest, right, and being like, yeah, it's a month away, which is very similar to what PlayStation was talking about when they canceled GDC, and it was like it's weeks away, but we don't know what the situation is going to be that far out.
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, I feel like I'm on top of the fact that anybody who's sick, I feel all the sympathies in the world for. Right now, trying to plan a live event or any kind of cool reveal, anything, like what do you do? Because you have to have all these contingency plans.
Yeah. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
Number 2, Greg.
Yeah.
February is over, but could Horizon still be coming to PC?
You're not gonna let this dream die, huh?
I mean, I've kind of let it die. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to let it die yet. Let's get into the news story. So this was reported last week by Fraser Brown at PC Gamer. He writes, PlayStation 4 exclusive Horizon Zero Dawn's PC port has appeared on Amazon France, following rumors that it would be making the leap to the other platform. Spotted by Reset Era, the listing is very sparse. It's just the name, publisher, and platform. The absence of any details, screenshots, or box art suggests this is probably Amazon France hedging its bets, and Amazon listings aren't always accurate indicators of a game announcement. The evidence is mounting, however. Rumors about a PC port surfaced last year via YouTuber Anton Logvinov, indicating that it would be launching as early as this month. It was thin, but its existence was verified by Kotaku, though it couldn't confirm a release date. With the end of this month only a couple of days away, now we're in March, and so the month is ended, a February launch seems unlikely, except for the fact that February 28th is Horizon Zero Dawn's 3rd anniversary. A surprise launch in a couple of days still seems like a stretch, but perhaps Guerrilla and Sony will use the anniversary to announce it. Now, unless the stealth launched and nobody heard about it, it didn't launch.
Nobody cared.
Yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn did not happen in February. Do you think Horizon Zero Dawn for PC is still happening?
I still think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it, I mean, the Amazon France or whoever, any retailer leaking box art or doing whatever, and in this case, not box art, right? Just putting up a listing. Listings are listings are listings. That's how, you make these things like they said to get ahead of it, right? So you're ready to go whenever it does happen.
Yeah.
And again, maybe that is intuition. Maybe that is the, article that this article sources from Schreier saying that it is coming to PC. All the same, I don't think it needs to line up with the anniversary. Would have been cool. Would have been a really neat move, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I
there.
do buy it's real, though.
Yeah, I think everything we've talked about on the show and on KFGD as far as why it would be a good move and why it makes sense for Sony, I think lends credence to. I think it's happening. I think it'll be this year, and yeah.
When do you think it gets announced then?
I don't know.
Right?
I think it'll happen very randomly.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it'll be in any sort of state of play or like.
You don't think so?
No,
See, I think
that'd be weird, right? Like if they announced Horizon for PC at a PlayStation State of Play.
Yeah.
I don't think
that'd be
sense.
awesome, right? Because it'd be different and weird. That's the whole thing about it. Like the move in general, I feel is, I think it lines up with my prediction that Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is going to be a PlayStation 5 launch game. And so I think the idea is that I've said this on I think Gamescast. I don't think we've talked about it here though. The idea that behind it for me personally is to get it out on PC at awesome specs, doing whatever awesome ray tracing, hair bobbing bullshit it would be, right? That gets PC players who had no intention of ever buying a PlayStation 4 to try this game they've heard so much about and fall in love with it. So I think you get it out ASAP to have them play it, do it, get more people in Horizon than ever before, then follow up on that. You figure State of Plays, or last year at least, were quarterly kind of. Not like a big deal, like they didn't call them quarterlies, but
yeah.
about the
as far
cadence
as their
we got,
frequency,
right?
yeah.
So we should be getting a State of Play this month, arguably. So do it here. Then in the next 3-month period where I think they reveal a PlayStation 5, you come out, talk about Horizon 2, even mention it, right? Like we just put Horizon Zero Dawn out on PC. You can see all these crazy numbers. That brings the global install base now to whatever the fuck the number is. And if you liked it on PC, that is how it 2 natively plays on the PlayStation 5.
That's how I think they reveal it, is whatever the PlayStation 5 event is, they come out, they announce Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and then they're like, hey, by the way, we are putting Horizon Zero Dawn 1 on PC. You can play it now.
No way.
Really?
Yeah, no. I think that PlayStation 5's events got to be all about PlayStation 5. That's why I don't even think they do. We keep talking about like, oh man, what is PlayStation Now going to look like and yada yada. That's a fine line. And like, what does PlayStation Plus become and all that? It's a fine line to walk before you steal the limelight of the new console. And so I think it's got to be that those are all services wrapped into it. That's why I think you do a state of play, where you do a state of play, and it is all the other bullshit updates. Here's what Iron Man VR is looking like. And then in the middle of it, I'd be like, now our friends at Gorilla have something else to show. You know, and it's like, when it is, and it's like, piece. That's right, for the first time ever.
See, I feel like that would be more out of left field.
It would get headlines. It would get all the stuff you want, right?
I think it would get headlines either way, though. Like, if you do it outside of a state of play and it is just a random Wednesday where they drop this news, say on Gorilla's Twitter timeline or whatever, maybe, or on a PlayStation blog. Even on a PlayStation blog, I feel it's kind of weird. But I guess PlayStation would still treat this like their own because it's their first party game. I feel like that in seclusion from a big stream or a big event, I think makes a splash and has people talk about it by itself. Whereas I feel like putting it in a PlayStation State of Play kind of muddies the messaging of a PlayStation State of Play to the point where it's like, okay, cool, I was watching this for PlayStation though. Like I'm watching this as a PlayStation fan already. Why is this being announced here?
You think the backlash is worse because you're people who are watching this? I bought this box expecting exclusive.
Not even the backlash. I think it's just the audience who it's for, right? I see PlayStation State of Play as a stream that is for the PlayStation audience.
Yeah.
And if Horizon Zero Dawn 1 coming out on PC is a thing for PC players to then get introduced to PlayStation, I feel like including it in a PlayStation State of Play is kind of a weird way to do it, because then who is this being marketed to, right? I feel like the way you do it is you just come out, you announce in seclusion, and you're like, hey, like either that, or you come out during the PlayStation PS5 event and do the thing where it's like, by the way, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC if you want to check it out, as a way to advertise Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on PS5. Like that's. But
isn't that the same PS5 thing of being a small? That PlayStation 5 reveal events is for PlayStation 5 players. My thing is this, and I think you're just thinking too small. You're thinking of the state of play for PlayStation fans, right? But what you actually mean is PlayStation 4 fans. Whereas I think if PlayStation is doing this, what it is doing is what Microsoft's been doing so well with Xbox, is saying it's not a platform, it's a brand, it's an ecosystem, it's bigger than that.
Do you feel like PlayStation is doing that though, or wants to do that?
I think they want to. They want you to think of, oh yeah, you can play PS Now on your PC. Why don't you? You know what I mean? On your iPad, why don't you? Horizon's over here. I don't think these moves aren't main tent poles for them. They're things they're putting out there that if they needed to, they could fall back on, even though when they fall back on them, I think they're going to be behind on them, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Where the fact that PlayStation Now is on PC, PlayStation doesn't give a shit about it really, because why would they? The PlayStation 4 is so goddamn successful.
Yeah.
That's okay. We have the infrastructure built in that if we needed to pivot, you wouldn't be able to pivot overnight, obviously. It would be years of trying to figure that out and make it better, but you'd have the infrastructure there. Whereas Microsoft, I think, who's like, fuck, Xbox One did not do what we wanted it to do. They've drastically changed course and found their own footing in terms of services.
Do you think the State of Play is this month, the next State of Play?
Now that, and I hadn't even given it any time, but now that we're talking about it, right?
I'm not. I would like it to be, but I'm not sure if they want to do one. Like, what would they talk about at a State of Play, right?
Games.
Like, I guess they could give us another Last of Us trailer. They could give us an Iron Man VR trailer, and then just sprinkle in some like random stuff in there. But I feel like there's not enough for a State of Play for it to be like a banger State of Play. Granted, none of the State of Plays I feel like so far have been banger ones. Yeah, they've all been kind of like
the VR one. We all loved it. Just kidding, everybody hated it. I was the only one.
I was gonna say, which one was it? Was that was Iron Man VR?
So looking back here, right? It's like March 25th, 2019, State of Play. That was the VR one that I dug. But again, that was I mean, we're lining up, right? Then May 9th, 2019, September 25th, 2019, and then December 10th, 2019.
Was there one December 10th?
Yeah.
What was that?
They don't have
Oh, that was Resident Evil. Yeah, that was the one. Okay, that makes sense. Then yeah, that lines up.
They also still have the Ghost of Tsushima release date to announce as
Great
well.
point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is still.
I guess that's true. That's a good point.
Slated for
That's a very good point.
summer, I guess.
It's summer.
Huh.
And so yeah, I could see a state of play happening, and it's like another Last of Us trailer, and then, yeah, like the Ghost of Tsushima date, and I forget the other thing. Iron Man VR. And then whatever random things they want to sprinkle in there. In India too.
Yeah.
A third party.
Yeah, I kind of forgot all about that. We're due for a state of play. You know what I mean? Because it still feels like we know that all eyes right now are on the PlayStation 5 reveal event. And I also don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that they don't do a state of play until they get to whatever PS5 is going to be.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like, okay, why would they do a state of play when they could just wait for the PlayStation 5 reveal event? But
I mean,
I think there is now I do think there is like enough that they could sprinkle in there to kind of gather.
They
one
could
together.
do your normal ass state of play, sprinkling stuff in, and then the final thing could be. And while we're not ready to talk about PlayStation 5 today, we will be on whatever the
come
date
back
is.
in whatever, or even like a month.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll be upset with a month.
Come back tomorrow. We're doing it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Two state of plays.
You know what would suck if there was a state of play like late this week or like early next week or whatever.
Tomorrow or whatever?
Yeah, like tomorrow because we already pre-recorded next week's episode.
Sure. Yeah. Be under radies. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. Number 3, we got some free games, Greg.
Woo!
PS Plus free games for March have been revealed. We have Shadow of the Colossus, and then one of the greatest games of all time, Sonic Forces.
That's not true. You didn't like it
I
that
do
much.
not like
No.
Sonic Forces.
You just like Sonic.
Yeah, I do love Sonic.
But Blessing, you can make your own kind of Sonic character.
Yeah,
in
you
Sonic
can make your own
Forces.
Sonic character, and then all the gear they got for the Sonic character sucks. There's a hat
Damn.
that says gamer on it.
I mean, that sounds pretty cool to me, Blessing.
You want to wear a gamer hat, Bless?
You wouldn't wear a hat that just says
I would wear
gamer
a gamer hat. I wouldn't wear a hat that says gamer on it.
with the
I don't
capital
need
G.
people to know that.
A capital G gamer hat.
Capital G gamer hat. This is one of those things where, like, this is what reminds me that Xbox has something special with backwards compatibility, because it's obvious that they're doing a Sonic game to capitalize off of the Sonic movie coming out. Xbox got Sonic Generations.
Yeah, you had a whole rant about this.
Yeah, I had a whole rant about this on KFGD, right? And PlayStation has Sonic Forces, the inferior Sonic game, one of the worst Sonic games.
Wow.
And so
He said it.
I said it. I really hope next gen we get a similar thing that Xbox has this gen, where it's like the 2 last gen games and then the 2 current gen games, right? And it's the backwards compatibility. So technically, you're kind of getting 4 games.
Yeah.
I really hope that we get that, because this is a bummer. Shadow of Colossus is great, though. Obviously, like, everybody loves Shadow of Colossus. This is one of the greatest games of all time.
Jason Das writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames blessing about Shadow of the Colossus and says this: "Hey guys, with Shadow of the Colossus coming to PlayStation Plus, could you see this as Sony hyping the franchise up for a possible Shadow of the Colossus Part 2 on PlayStation 5? I've read that Ueda originally planned 48 Colossi, but dropped it to 16 in the final release. All the remasters have been done with Bluepoint, who've teased they're working on something big. Maybe Ueda's gen design comes in to consult with Japan Studio? Thanks."
I would love it. I don't have faith that it's happening. This is one of my predictions, actually, on Kind of Funny Games Cast for, I think it was like our next gen predictions, is that Bluepoint works on Shadow Colossus 2. That was a prediction.
Dude, you think that's what they're working on now?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and that
You fall in the Demon Souls camp?
I fall in the camp that I don't know.
Okay.
I could see Metal Gear, but like that's also like that's like an equal thing of like this has an equal chance of not happening as Shadow Colossus 2. Like I think Demon Souls is more likely. I think a Castlevania thing is more likely. Like I think the boring answers are just the more likely ones.
I hope beyond
not that Demon
hope.
Souls is a boring answer, but for me it is.
I hope beyond hope that when Bluepoint's game gets revealed, it is not Demon Souls. Because it's just like, that is one of those rumors we've all heard so long that now we just take it, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And I would love for everybody to be wrong, that is not what it is. You've all been misled.
It's actually like Jack and Daxter.
I mean,
something very left
I also,
field.
I totally dig for them to try something on their own if that's what they wanted. You know what I mean?
Do you
and
think
I know
that's
they
what they
talked
want,
about
though?
that. I know they've talked about that. I
Yeah.
don't know. Who knows? I
'Cause
mean,
I don't think that's
they're
what-
also, these aren't remasters, right? They're remakes. Like they're going in and doing something on that is of their own.
Like,
they are being creative.
That's my thing, is that they're the best at doing this. Like they're the best at like going in and remaking games. If you want to, and it's definitely this type of remake, right? I'm not talking about this compared to Resident Evil remake or Final Fantasy 7 remake. I'm talking about going in and replacing assets and making the same game, but just modernizing it in a way that it looks like a current gen title. Nobody does that like them, and I think they take pride in it.
Isn't this the isn't Shadow of the Colossus really the only one that they've done a full remake for though?
Yeah,
Because
like they have not done one before.
The Metal Gear stuff was remasters.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like Uncharted,
They
the
remastered a
Uncharted
whole bunch.
collection was just a
Yeah.
remasters and stuff. Like I feel like Shadow of the Colossus was the first one where they were like, yeah, we're gonna go in and rebuild this game from the ground up essentially.
Yeah,
and,
Rebuild
but
Twin
I
Snakes.
think they take pride in that work. I think they take pride in the fact that like, hey, we've figured this out, we've nailed this. Let's become the guys that are known for just like going off and being able to remake something super well. And so I think for the immediate future they do remakes, though. I feel like if Sony came to them, and that's why I have the Shadow Colossus 2 prediction, right, is that I feel like if Sony came to them and they were like, hey, do you guys want to be the ones to do Shadow Colossus 2? I feel like that'd be too good to pass up, but who knows?
There's no way. Shadow of the Colossus is a beloved masterpiece in gaming. I'm not taking away, but it's not some commercial success you have to sequelize. I honestly feel like if you were to say Shadow of the Colossus 2, it'd be akin to saying Citizen Kane 2. Like Titanic 2. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you... Nobody asked for this kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where these games were... Not to mention that Ueda is so synonymous with that. That, I mean, that would be like... And even though you'll probably see it eventually one day, you know, a Metal Gear that is supposed to be continuing Snake or Big Boss's story that Kojima isn't consulted on or part of or anything.
It'd be weird. Like,
yeah.
Metal Gear Survive, even
Right.
though that's like a spin-off, it's not Big Boss or Snake, but...
Everybody turned their back on it.
Yeah,
Nobody, we all let it freeze to
we
death.
pretended like it didn't come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could... The idea that Ueda in Gen Design, being Ueda's studio, right, come in and consult on it or come in and work on it,
Yeah.
you know, I think could fix that a bit. But the chances of that happening, I don't know. Like, Last Guardian was such a tortured development process. You know, that took, 10 years to come out? And I think that's one of those situations where after that, I think you're just done working with each other. And so I don't see Shadow Colossus 2 coming out realistically for the reason that it's like making a Citizen Kane 2 and for the reason that like I don't see them working together and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I would like it. I'd be into it.
You're a weirdo.
But then also the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo
Yay!
is out now. Go play it.
I played it at PAX. No, yeah, I played it at PAX West. I enjoyed myself and I know shit about it. You played it. You went and actually did a preview event of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, really liked it. I'll talk about that more in the games I've been playing.
Oh, okay. Well, excuse me then.
I'm
Yeah,
so
but now-
excited to check out this demo.
But
I'm
now,
so excited.
Barrett, are you ready?
No.
It's time for PS5 Watch.
Warning, this is PlayStation 5 Watch.
I'm glad you were on point with that. You're really on point. I appreciate that. Number 4.
Barrett came into work today, and
It's like
I had
I
my
know
back
how
to
to
him.
do my job.
I had my back to him, and I'm like, "How you doing?" He's like, "I'm tired." And I turned around, and it literally looked like he just woke up at a sleepover. Like, you know when you're coming to your friend's house, you're like, your night shirt's all pulled down and stuff.
Yeah.
But you
How I
got it,
always
boss
look.
baby. You got it. Zelda in review Tuesday, everybody.
Later today.
4
for
hours
those
of
watching
content.
on live on YouTube.
Square Enix isn't making next-gen exclusives for a bit. Will other companies follow suit?
Ooh.
This comes from Samuel Tolbert at Windows Central. If you intend to stick to your current consoles for the time being, you'll still be able to play new Square Enix titles for a while. According to a Q&A held during the company's recent financial results briefing, Square Enix is not interested in making games exclusive to the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 for the time being, and will instead develop cross-generation games. When asked about the company's plans for next-generation consoles, Square Enix stated, quote, "The next-generation consoles will have backward compatibility, so we plan for the time being to make our new titles available for both current and next generation titles or generation consoles. It will therefore be somewhat farther down the road that we release titles exclusively for next generation consoles."
Will others follow
That
suit?
sentence was
Blessing?
written twice. I was very confused. I don't see why not. Right? If you're a company, if you're a third party and you're making games, why would you make games exclusive to the new console when you could make when you could make a PS4 game that is also playable on PS5 and everybody can play it?
I saw this when it went through the news cycle last week. I think we talked about it on Games Daily because it was, it's headline, it's news. You want to talk about it, but yeah, this is so classic video games, right? Like we talk about this all the time. Like if this is your first console launcher, you just haven't been paying attention, right? Like third party publishers have no real allegiance to the console manufacturers.
Yeah.
So it's great you want to make a new PlayStation 5 PlayStation. There's 106 million PlayStation 4s. Even if you sell gangbusters with PlayStation 5 day and date, that's
You're not
still
gonna compare.
a minuscule amount of users compared to this. Let alone to Square's point that everything's backwards. It's all backwards compatibility. So why would I care?
Yeah.
Like if there's money tossed your way from a console manufacturer, if there is a team that feels they can only do what their vision is, or their vision will be so much better by the tech, that's a different thing. If it's something you want to get started, like, you know how we always talked about Watch Dogs, right? When that debuted as the first next gen in quote games we had ever seen back then. Like that's trying to make a new IP synonymous with it. And so if Square's just worried about putting out like
Games that sell.
guess what, everybody? Like the fucking Avengers aren't going to need the help of the PlayStation 5 limited launch library.
Yeah.
Let alone that Avengers is going to run on a PlayStation 5. Let alone, according to PlayStation, it's going to run better on a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Without anything
I really
happening.
want to know how the box art is going to start looking for PlayStation 5, because this is the thing that Tim has been bringing up, right? How's that box art going to look for the Xbox Series X versus the Xbox One and all that stuff? I want to know how the PS5 box art looks versus the PS4 box art, because like Avengers, this is going to come out at the end of the PS4 generation. It's been marketed as a PS4 game.
Yeah.
I don't even think they've said the words PS5 for Avengers, but it's going to be playable on the PS5, and I'm sure there will be some marketing around, hey, this is also coming to PS5, or like some kind of like PS5 logo on in the commercial or whatever it may be, right? So I wonder if there is going to be like a box with the PS4 and PS5 logo on it
Sure.
for games that are coming out this year that are going to transition to next gen.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
be in that
we've
release
talked
window.
about this a lot, or last week I think was the one we were talking about Xbox's announcements and how that influences PlayStation. We glossed over, and it didn't make a big deal about it, but a lot of people sent me stuff, so clearly they thought it deserved to be talked about. The way Xbox does their Xbox back stuff now.
Yeah.
Where you'll see a game that has the
It's
green
three-
stripe across the top, and it
Yep.
says Xbox plus Xbox One, or Xbox 360
Xbox
plus
360
Xbox One.
plus Xbox One, yeah. I was listening to because we talked about last week. Was it last week we talked about the big Xbox thing? And
Yes. In a time warpy sense, ladies and gentlemen, like Blessing said, we recorded episode 10 of PS I Love
Yeah.
You, the under 80s already. So it feels like
it feels like it was
it feels like episode 8 PS I Love You XOXO was a week and a half ago. And
No,
it's
yeah,
totally
it
like,
feels
wait,
like
what?
it's been forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was last week we talked about the smart delivery and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I recently listened over the weekend because somebody wrote in with a podcast that Major Nelson did. It was like a 19-minute thing, part of the Major Nelson podcast, and it's him talking to one of the system architects of the Xbox. I think it was one of the system architects. Apologies if I get that wrong.
Rark Murney.
No, maybe that's why I'm saying system architect is because the marks or anything. But he was talking about smart delivery and some of the features from Xbox One. This is the same podcast that the whole quick resume of different games.
multiple applications.
Yeah, where that news came out of that podcast. So I went and listened to it, and like that gave me a much clearer picture of smart delivery, because I feel like last week I was like, I don't understand. Like I understood what it was, but it was one of those things where I'm like, how is this even gonna work? Like, you know, this seems very confusing, convoluted, but no, it's just how it works right now, where it's like we have Xbox 360 games that take advantage of Xbox One, the power of Xbox One, Xbox One X, right? We have 4K games. We have like Sonic Generations that I played, right? That can run in 4K.
Always goes back to Sonic.
It always goes back to Sonic Generations, because that's the last game I played.
Okay.
Or the last game I played that took advantage of the 4K and all that stuff. And so the way that Larry described it was either Larry or his guest, but the way they described it,
suddenly on a first name basis with Major Nelson.
yeah,
Wow.
sorry, Mr. Herb. The way that they described it on the podcast was, you will basically be downloading the assets, like the new assets for the Xbox Series game if you're playing an Xbox One game, and that's how smart delivery is going to work.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, oh, that's way more clear than I felt like it read in the thing. For PS4 to PS5, right? Like,
Well, if we can pause it for 1 second, because so many people did write in and to talk to me about that, and I'm like, I got that, I understand that. It's CD Projekt Red coming off the bench,
Yeah.
and saying like you should never have to buy it twice, because you don't have to buy it twice now. So like them saying that, and then the way we've seen cross-gen games handled before, where there is a PlayStation
remaster.
3 and a PlayStation 4, there is a remaster, there is
Yeah.
a difference. Like
I
that
think-
was the like I don't. What are you talking about?
It was very foggy, and
Yeah.
from what I understand now, right? CD Projekt Red, they're putting out Cyberpunk 2077 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Right.
Xbox One. For Xbox Series X, and this is something I'm still not clear on.
Here we go.
Is there a
Well, thanks lot.
PS5 version of Cyberpunk? I don't know. The way Larry Herb described smart delivery specifically is that you will be getting the new assets on Xbox Series X. Like you'll essentially be getting an upgrade the way we've been getting it. That doesn't imply an Xbox Series X version of Cyberpunk. Now, I got to go back and read the Cyberpunk tweet because they did make it seem like there's going to be a PS5 version of Cyberpunk because they said when it's available,
I mean,
all that stuff.
it's a whatever.
confusing.
It's a thing. Whatever.
But it's the reason why that's still pertinent is that, and the reason why it's dev to dev who decides on who lets it happen is the fact that people still want to do remasters. And so if you want to sell a remaster, you then don't release like the upgraded assets. You then box it up again and then sell it as a PS5 game.
Yeah.
I think that's where the whole communication kind of gets weird and foggy and convoluting and confusing.
Yeah.
But that's sort of how it is.
All that said, jumping back to the Square thing,
jumping
which
back
is
to the
way
Square
more
thing.
clear of what they're talking about, what they plan on. It's smart business and it makes
Yeah.
sense. Why wouldn't you do that? I think again, like, what is the selling point of the PlayStation 5? It's the selling point that it will run faster, solid state drive, be a better thing, better systems, better bells and whistles, better visuals, right? But for something that's backwards compatible, even when you've seen this happen before, where at the cross-generation console mark where they put out a current gen and a next gen version, right? All you're ever getting the next gen version is sharper graphics. And it's like usually not built for that. So it's that weird thing where it looks almost too sharp even when you see these kind of games. So like Square's doing the right thing, let alone the fact that, they're talking about Avengers. They're talking about games that are, we talked about with Rainbow Six and, Division and all these different games that backwards compatibility is so needed this generation because the constantly connected shared world game is this universe. That's what people play.
That's what we're playing. We're playing that regularly now, and that's been it's popular enough to where now you don't want to cut those ecosystems in half once we transition.
And it'd be outrageous, right? To the point we were making last week of, cool, you're invested in the Division, Avengers, whatever. Now you got to buy the PlayStation 5 version. Like, no, like what? It should just download. It should just be there, or be this backwards compatibility.
Number 5. And I don't even know if I want to do this one or skip it because one is
fuck number 5.
Yeah, let's skip number 5 because we're deep in the in this show. Number 5 is basically going to be a rumor. Is Sony working on 2 consoles? Greg, is Sony working on 2 consoles?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
Yeah, but thanks for the the content, Game Rant. If you want to read more about how there are rumors about Sony working on 2 consoles, check out Game Rant. Number 6, and this is a new segment for the X's and O's that I'm introducing called the Dreamscape.
It's a segment within a segment.
Yeah,
right.
a segment because that's what PS5 watch.
Actually,
is,
it's
right?
a segment within a segment within a segment, right? Because the segment is X's and O's.
Yeah.
Then you had PS5 watch. Oh,
but that's a separate segment.
Sorry, my apologies.
This is a new block within the X's and O's.
So this is PS5 watch should be like 1A, and this is 1B.
Yes.
In terms of, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the Dreamscape.
Do you have a logo, a graphic for this?
No, I did not think ahead. Barry, do you have a graphic for it? No. Oh, okay. Number 6, Dreamscape is where there are Dreams news because there's apparently Dreams news coming out every single week now.
Thank God. Great game. Keep supporting it.
Number 6, does the Dreams trending tab need improvement? This is by Matt Kim of IGN. He writes, some say that the discovery tool that's meant to highlight up-and-coming projects in Dreams tends to favor viral content over original creations, something that Media Molecule says it's looking to address. One critique of the trending system is how it places more weight on games based purely on plays and not necessarily likes. In practice, this floats remakes and memes up to the top over original creations that may not have gone viral. In one thread on the PS4 Dreams subreddit with over 1.2 thousand upvotes, players are discussing ways this system can be improved. Quote, I understand that trending games are the most played games of the day, but what happens is that meme and superhero games that have 3K plays but only 100 likes are absolutely overshadowing great creations that have like 200 likes but only have, for example, 400 plays, end quote. Quote, feedback is a vital part of helping us shape and grow the Dreams community. I mean, a Media Molecule spokesperson tells IGN when we reached out regarding these concerns. Quote, we started making the first changes to our recommendation and discovery algorithms in early access and plan on continuing that work to improve them as we go, end quote. Media Molecule specifically mentions the Reddit thread saying, quote, the Reddit thread currently contains some good ideas, such as the likes versus plays ratio currently, and we are certainly giving them careful consideration as part of this process, end quote. Greg, last week during my Blessing Your Dreams segment where I tell people about the dreams
Sure, another dream segment on this show, sure.
Yeah, a third or second dream segment. I brought to the table 2 games that were both remakes, right? I brought Tetris and I brought Ghost of Tsushima, which is not a game that was actually like a scene or a movie or whatever, but these are 2 very inspired things that are they're recreations. Has this been a thing for you, surfing through Dreams, like seeing remakes and those stuff float to the top more and more often? Have you noticed that?
I see them a lot, yeah, when you go to the indreams.me page, right? And
is
which
it an
is
issue for
also
you?
the same thing. It's not an issue because I'm down. When I go into Dream Surf, right? When I sit down and I turn on Dreams and I go into Dream Surfing, I know, number one, that I'm going to be in there for a while because I want to go through and find something. I'm there to experience. I'm there to go what's on. And then I've also already built out my lists and the people I'm following and stuff like that. I think as you start curating and following and doing things more, you start getting a better experience on there. But I do get that, at the front door when you go in there, like that's how that Yoda thing I found, right? The one I was talking about, the one thing I reported of Yoda doing 9/11 was there because it was trending, because a million people were playing, like, what the fuck is this thing? And I, of course, bid it, and I was right there too. And it is that self-perpetuating cycle.
Yeah.
That, people are on there. But when you jump in here, like to your point, new trending dreams as we record this right now, right? Number one is Sonic Generations Dreams Edition prototype, right?
Yeah.
The next one is The Wonderful World of Carl Pilkington, which actually looks pretty good, and I'm adding to my play later queue right now. You go through like Time Splitters, Fight Off the Living Dead, Metroid Fusion Remake.
Yeah.
This is the same stuff in Red Dead, the same stuff we saw over and over and over again with Little Big Planet, where it was these things would rise to the top, and what do you do about that? Like, I think they have a great answer here and the great look of what could happen. Of let's go in there and deal with not the amount of plays, but the amount of likes. Let's go in there, and I think even the way Dreams has gone through and added in this, you can just be, instead of being even a player, a curator. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm earning a lot of points in Dreams because I continue to update my Dreams list in there for my thing. You know what I mean? Where I want you to go in there and see what I'm playing. Come on over. You know what I'm saying? What was it? kindoffunny.com/Greg's Dreams? Was it?
Maybe.
That's one we always say, and that makes sense. But then I think that one arrows. I want to make sure I'm promoting the right thing. Kinda.
Yeah. This is the conversation that me and I want to say Gary would have had. And my thing about
Greg's Dreams, yeah.
My thing about the way Dreams kind of sorts its dreams in the Discovery.
It's creations, yeah.
Yeah, the creations in the Discovery tabs.
Yeah.
I think there's enough variations there, like as far as how they organize things, because they do have the new trending dreams, but then they also have the community jam dreams, and then they also have new dreams, and they have there's enough different tabs that you can look at and kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
That I feel like you get the variation. It's not only remakes and stuff. In the trending dreams tab, yes, there are hella remakes.
And that's the way the way they've broken. Even though I scroll through mine, right? First off, I think they need a better system of getting things in front of you every day that they are curating. I think that'd be great. I know there's a million things going on, but like Pip Gemwalker, which is great, is still in this like top slot up here that I've seen a million times, right? But yeah, trending games things are new recommendations built off of what I'm saying is stuff I've seen before. Dreams tagged with third person, and there's Spider-Man, Giant City Free Roam, Spyro the Dragon, right?
Yeah.
But collection, other peeps by it's a collection from somebody I follow, and I already see interactive drum kit and all this other stuff that is not just, hey, here's something inspired by another thing or a test or a superhero like they talked about in the article. It is this different idea, and here's Dreams.
Yeah, they have
did something
the
thumbed
pick of
up
the week
and,
also. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot going on. I think it's a symptom of them being still early in the process, even though we're out of early access.
yeah.
But I think the Dreams tab is going to continue to
and that's
grow over
and
the
to
next
your
years.
point, into the the point of the article and stuff, like it is the idea that Media Molecule is on this. This is not a game they shipped and walked away from, right? Like I was looking for it when you were starting this because it was a different thing. But I saw Abby, of course, from Media Molecule, responding to someone on Twitter this weekend that was asking a very intricate, detailed question of like, this is how we're working on this thing, but it'd be better if Media Molecule did this, and her actually have a conversation of like, that's an interesting idea, talk it out with me, and like, we don't currently do that, but I understand how that would be a problem, and like, it was something about a reshare and how it worked, but it was awesome to see them that frankly and openly be like, that's great, we're not prioritizing that, but how would you do it? And like these real conversations of trying to build these tools for people, right?
Yeah.
I do have a question for you from Alexis, who wrote in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can. With so many of Dream's most popular games being copies or recreations of existing IPs, Tetris, Final Fantasy VII, PT, etc., how is Sony planning on dealing with potential copyright infringement issues? Thanks for all you do, Alexis. Again, back to Little Big Planet. Like, this is, time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
We're just having the same conversations over and over again, where it's like, the idea here is that you can create anything you want in there, do whatever you want. You're not making money off of it.
Yeah.
So that's already
I think that's the big thing, is that nobody's selling these things yet.
And it's the same thing of, if you want to be a Dreams creator and you want to be promoted by Dreams, by PlayStation, by whatever, they are never going to promote any of the things, Spider-Man free roam, any of this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not going to get into the commercials and the trailers and promoted. If
Yeah.
it did, that's when I think you'd see Sony and Sony, haha. You'd see Marvel Games come off the bench and
Yeah.
Disney come off the bench and be like, what the fuck, guy? You know what I mean? But like in this thing, you can create whatever you want. That's happening, sure. And if it was at any point a financial risk or it was somehow the Spider-Man game you created in Dreams was so good that they were worried about that
They're like,
actually
"Oh, no."
detracting from
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 sales, maybe you'd have an issue where Marvel Games, Disney, and PlayStation themselves
Yeah.
would come in and stop you. But otherwise, no, that's not really going to happen.
Yeah. Number 7 is going to be required reading. It's an article from Escapist magazine called Dreams is Already Fostering the Next Generation of Game Developers. This is by Philip Moyer. I highly recommend people check it out, but it essentially goes into interviews with different creators in Dreams, talking about how there's a specific story that starts off with a person who wanted to recreate No Man's Sky because they wanted to, test out the tools in Dreams,
Yeah.
right? And of course, you can't really recreate No Man's Sky because there's like 18 quintillion planets in there and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
But they kind of talk about the fun in seeing Dreams tools and realizing like, oh snap, this has I forget the exact. Actually, no, they say Dreams is like Maya, Unreal, Fruity Loops, Sony Vegas, and Photoshop all bundled into one $40 package. And that's said by a guy named Kevin, who's the person that's being interviewed. Kevin H. And so I highly recommend people go check it out. I think it's an interesting read. It's fun.
I agree with you. I think they should as well, and I hope it's true because that's legitimately what Media Molecule is so good at and what the power of Dreams is.
Yeah.
Because again, like I have it on. We're about to get into what you've been playing.
Yeah.
Actually, we're in what you've been playing. Everybody, congratulations.
Boom. We're in
here.
the next segment.
And both you and I have Dreams on our list.
Yeah.
And my Dreams experience this week has not been playing as much as trying to get my shit ducks in a row for creating. And I got my art asset back from the person I'm game directing this thing, right? Because I have no talent. So I know I got to record a bunch of VO. I got the big art asset back that I had requested, and it's awesome. And it's that thing of getting it, looking at it, realizing how creative and amazing my collaborator is, then starting to think about what I need to do with it, starting to think about the next thing I need from everybody else. And like the fact that is happening with someone as scatterbrained and busy and overworked as I am, that I am having those. You look at now the other people out there who are making full-fledged games with their friends, and this is their outlet. They come home and this is all they do. The people who are, when I look at their profiles, 136 their level in Dreams or whatever to my 13. Like,
Yeah.
there is an entire community out there that is just so all fucking about this and in making creative, amazing shit. That I can't wait to see what they make in Dreams, but then what happens after that and what this platform becomes, how many people do get inspired to go out and find what's going on. We always joke around about like when we had Snake Pass in here a long time ago, right? And like the fact that those guys, some of them had been Little Big Planet creators that had been hired on to test out Little Big Planet 3 and then stuck around and did the game jam and made their own things. And like that is more real than ever with Dreams, especially as even if Dreams, and we don't know, obviously, how it's going to do in terms of sales and money and all that jazz. That's very important to a company. We don't know how that'll actually do and net out. But the fact that I know the industry is watching Dreams, where it legitimately, I think it was a question leading up to it, and we're already over it with a resounding yes, that if you want to make games and make assets and make art, I think you can go to a GDC, you can apply for an internship, you can talk to somebody and show a Corey Barlog or whoever, this is what I made, and have them take you seriously and be like, oh, awesome, I do understand Dreams and I understand those tools, and that's very different than what we use, but you have talent here. There's something here. Let me encourage you and work with you.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of been somewhat of my experience in Dreams this last week. As I've been not creating, I've been playing. I found one creator, right? Their name is Mr. Casey Jones. And let me tell you, Mr. Casey Jones is my favorite creator in Dreams. Somebody sent me one of their games called Opposite Day 2, Regular Day, by Mr. Casey Jones. And I guess this is gonna be my Blessing Your Dream segment where I talk about different dreams and dreams or whatever.
That's that's MR and then Casey Jones.
Then Casey Jones.
All one word.
Yeah.
Right now, a 102 level creator.
So Mr. Casey Jones makes comedy games, right? He makes games called Opposite. He has a series called Opposite Day. And he's made like 80 of these things. 8 of these things, not 80. and they're all hilarious, right? It's walking sim comedy, like it's him being cheeky, it's him being funny. Bear, can you go to like the beginning of it to where like, yeah, like around there? Because basically, this is Opposite Day 2, which if you're going to check out Opposite Day games, I highly recommend starting off with 2, because 2 is the best one, right? But basically, it's a walking sim. He's going around, and there's text on walls. And if you read the text, right?
They're all jokes.
They're all jokes, right? This one isn't actually really a joke. This one's actually kind of a actual one. But it's basically bit after bit after bit after bit. If you played a game like Jazz Punk, or if you played... what's it called? The game that they're actually re-putting out again for PS4 and Xbox One. It's a walking sim. Stanley Parable. If you play Stanley Parable, right, it has some of that kind of tone to it.
Sure.
Where it's goofy, it's fun, and he's just very clever. Like all of the bits are very. I'm not gonna say very funny, but they catch me off guard, like over and over and over and over again. And so like here you're walking through a hallway, right? If you look at this wall, right, it didn't really matter what order you press those buttons. That's kind of how wacky these dreams are.
Sure.
Opposite Day is a bit of a misnomer. It's okay. Well, he's going too fast, so I can't read what's going on. But basically, each of the texts are different bits. It's really funny. I feel like most of my weekend playing these games and having a blast.
Are they that deep, or is there that many of them?
I mean, there's 8 of them. Each of them, they fluctuate, but they're from like 30 minutes to maybe an hour.
Gotcha.
Each.
Remember, everybody, you can go to indreams.me/Mr. Casey Jones. You can follow there, and that way you can see all the creations. Here's what I'm going to let Mr. Casey Jones speak for himself.
Mm-hmm.
My real name is Casey, and I live in Oregon, USA. I was born in the 1900s, and I like pizza. The thing we call dreams has been the perfect platform for me to express myself and get ideas out of my head that just couldn't be done anywhere else. It's been a great experience, even at these early stages. Also, I've never had an audience for anything before. I can't believe people play games that I've made. What a time to be alive for someone who can't code but wants to make games. Thank you so much for spending time with my creations. His bio says, I'm here to play/see things that are only in dreams, to make things that don't already exist, and explore the relationship between creator and player.
That's awesome.
That is exactly what you want out of a dreams creator. That's perfect.
Yeah. And so Mr. Casey Jones is my favorite right now. Like, I've legitimately enjoyed his games like a lot. It's ridiculous how like good he is at one, delivering comedy, and it's like also like clean comedy, which I didn't realize it until I probably got into like the 4th or 5th one where he like referenced that he wasn't saying curse words or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, you haven't been cursing. I didn't realize. Like, I didn't even think about that. Very clever dude.
He has so many creations up here too.
Yeah.
He's
like, he has a thing. He also has a Dreams Tube, which is like his video series in Dreams, where it's dude, he's really good.
I was already following, but I think it was when I did a mass follow trying to get the trophy, which I got. No big deal.
Boom. And so check out Mr. Casey Jones. Another one I want to highlight.
Did that get the blessing seal of approval?
Honestly, all the ones I'm about to talk about are going to get it, and so we'll wait to the end. And
Big bless.
I'll say all of them get the seal of approval because
up.
these are all good. Yeah. Dreamwave Playable Synth. This isn't a game. This is somebody literally made a
Damn.
Yeah, like a musical tool, right? That has oscillators, it has mixers, it has effects, right? You can mess around with the delays, all this different stuff, right? If you like making music and messing around with this type of thing, this thing surprisingly works. Like, that's the thing that kind of blew me away is that, right? If you look at the I'm trying to think of what these things are actually called, like the actual like machines for making music. That sounds like a weird way to put it, but like,
this is a keyboard.
well, it's not just a keyboard though. It's like Barry, you know what I'm talking about?
Andy.
Yeah, Andy will be able to know what I'm talking about. What's this called?
Come here and get on this microphone. Not that one, this one. Nobody will be able to hear you. Barrett doesn't have the power to pull that up in time.
I pulled it up in like 0.5 seconds.
What do you mean? What?
Like this as
Call
like
this entire thing.
this entire thing.
Oh, like an MPK or?
I guess like it's not like a like tool. You know, like Massive or like Nexus in Fruity Loops. Like, is there not like a name for like?
Yeah, it's an audio. Shit! Oh my god!
Yeah,
it's killing
see,
me.
that's what I'm saying.
There's all these different programs, but
Yes.
but there's a word that you say to like, oh, this
OST?
is my.
Is that?
That's official soundtrack.
Oh,
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking. Where they're like, hey, here's this piece of hardware, this MPK, this piano, and it can be used with a bunch of different, a variety of blank. and it's like your preferred audio. Fuck, chat. Does chat know?
No.
Damn, it's
Mike
killing
Hell
me.
said
VST?
synth?
Huh?
VST?
VST? Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
well-
wait. No, I don't know. Let me know.
I don't
when
know
you
if that's
find
just a specific Fruity Loops
out. Let
thing.
me know when you find out.
But basically,
Man, what a fucking whiff from Nitro Rifle.
But
You know what I
basically, it's
mean?
an app you can use to make music, and like all the effects on the thing work, right? And so you can mess around with the delay, mess around with the decay, mess around with the oscillators, with the with the DK, all that stuff. It works. It's a playable synth. It's great. And then lastly, I want to highlight the Water Gardens by Half Up.
Okay.
This is basically I guess I can call it a 3D platformer, and they actually made a trailer. If you want to press play on the trailer,
Wow.
it has a really cool art style. It's pulled out from afar, very colorful kind of thing.
Now, is that the St. Louis Arch or is that a Borderlands Vault? You'll be the judge when you play this.
Yeah, play it, figure it out. But yeah, you're basically going through these different environments, collecting these shapes, and it's like
This looks great.
No, yeah, it looks
The
amazing.
Water Gardens by Half Up.
The Water Gardens by Half Up. It was a nice, fun, quick experience, and that's been my favorite thing about Dream so far is that it always kind of sucks being like, I want to play a new game, but I don't want to spend 10 hours.
It's that
jumping into a big game.
What I love about Dreams and why it works so well for me is that idea where, man, I'm excited for the Division, but it's not here. Or the Warlords, but it's not here yet. So here. Andy figured it out. Everybody, Andy figured it out. He went over there. Cool Greg told him because Cool Greg knows.
No, I just googled it. It's a DAW.
Yes,
Digital
thank you.
audio workstation.
Thank you. God.
Just send in Cool Greg.
God.
next time,
I was literally just sweating because I couldn't think of the word. I was like, what is this word? I know the word, but it just escaped me.
But in being in the mood for one game, but you don't have it or you're whatever, and then you don't want to start a new game because you don't have 10 hours, nor do you want the 30 to 45 minutes of tutorialing where you're not even in the real game. Whereas like Dreams, you jump in, you're playing, you're doing your thing, you're finding these levels, you're going or worlds, and finding what you want to do in them.
And so like I appreciated this game because it was a quick experience, like 45 minutes long, and it was just like a quick hey, here's some platforming, here's like a couple of puzzles to solve, and it was over, and it did not overstay its welcome, and it felt chill, it felt laid back, and I had a really good time with all of them. And so all of them get the blessing seal of approval. Barrett. Oh, he's asleep on the job.
Blessing.
Yes.
I'm glad you still have your seal of approval. Still
Thank you.
bummed I don't have one, but whatever. It's your thing. Don't worry.
Do you
about
want
it.
one? We can
No,
make you
it's
one.
fine.
We
No,
can
it's
combine
fine.
these segments.
Like
We're
I
both
said, my
playing
Dreams time has mainly been creating, which is weird and different and cool. However, I did want to give a shout out to one, Robert Mimms. If you scroll down a little bit in the doc, Barrett, you'll see a link there for him. He's the question underneath my Dream segment. He wrote it into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, not a question, but I did want to check in with Greg about my squad up last week. You know, when he called me the fuck out for not having created anything in Dreams. You remember this? John L. Ace Esquire was the squad up last week who wanted people to create with him in Dreams, had created jack shit, and he's like, well, I'll come and help you do anything. I'm great. And he had done nothing. Well, anyways, Robert/John L.S. continues. Well, between work and school this past week, I've been working on something. It's incredibly small, nothing impressive in the slightest, but it's the seed for something bigger. I'm making a short animated film called Of Wolmrest, and I hope to be able to show you more in the future. My squad up still stands too. If you want to make cool stuff in Dreams, hit me up. I have loads of stuff to learn, but I am hooked on Dreams. Love, Robert. PSN, John, John, L, Ace, ACE, Esquire. Yeah, you can see Barrett pulled it up over here. Of course, you can go to indreams.me/John L. Ace Esquire, and you can see Wolmrest there, which looks awesome. It looks like a little castle setting there, and creepy as hell.
It looks cool.
So, shout out to you, John L. Ace, answering the call when I was like, he says he can do anything, and he's done nothing. You did something. Congratulations to you. I'm proud of you.
That's awesome.
Bless, what else have you been playing?
I've been playing a little bit of Bloodborne. A little bit more of Bloodborne.
Sure.
I finally. So basically, what happened when I last talked about Bloodborne, because I don't think it's really a spoiler. I didn't talk about it because I didn't know what constitutes a spoiler in Bloodborne. But I'm going to talk about it.
You die a
'cause
lot. That's a
you
spoiler.
die a lot.
Yeah.
Basically, I got caught by a snatcher. And basically, what these guys do is randomly, as you're playing, right? These are very powerful people or very powerful creatures, whatever they are. I don't know if anybody in Bloodborne is human. They, if they kill you, they kidnap you, and then they take you to like apparently one of the most difficult parts in the game. And so I got stuck there, and I was like, I don't know how to leave this place. And I'm very stubborn, and I don't look up guides. And I feel like Bloodborne as a game really wants you to like either look up guides or like really want to like scrape around the whole environment, like scrape around all the environments to figure out how to get out of a place or figure out where is what. But basically, I got stuck in a loop where I kept dying because I would keep going into the wrong room that had like a bunch of strong dudes in it. Basically, I figured out how to get out of there by cheesing two of the
That's how you do it.
snatchers.
That's how you play.
Yeah, had to cheese a couple enemies because they were very strong. Killed them, found the way out. Now I'm back in the game, and man, Bloodborne.
Man, that's how any conversation about Bloodborne
Yeah,
goes.
I'm having as much fun as I am with the game as I'm having as much frustration and anxiety and just like dread about playing the game because it is such a it's punishing, but then also like it's scary and terrifying. I can get past the punishing and difficulty of it, but everything in the game either crawls or slithers or surprises you, and I'm just like I hate all of it. But the game is
This ain't
fun.
my life.
Yeah, I hate it so much, but I enjoy like the actual combat and the actual like, you know, killing and, you know, having to not wanting to lose my blood echoes. Like that experience, I'm like, this is really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, everything in that game is scary. And so I'm playing it. I'm probably having the slowest Bloodborne playthrough of all time. Like I should have beaten the next boss by now, Vicar Amelia, but I've just been taking it so slow because I've been trying not to get married to the game. And so like this weekend I took a break and I was like, all right, I'm going to find another single player action adventure game that I can jump into. And I started playing Dying Light, which I don't want to talk about my experience yet because I want to have something to talk about next episode, or I guess 2 episodes from now, when we come back, and hopefully I would have beaten Dying Light by then. But aside from Bloodborne, been playing, or I previewed Final Fantasy VII Remake.
YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames.
Yeah, we did a whole first impressions on it. Me, Tim, Andy Cortez.
Audio podcast available wherever podcasts are.
Gamescast podcast feed, and yeah, dude, that game is incredible. Like,
Yeah?
it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put it on like the same level as Doom Eternal and there's like one other game I had in that category as far as like how games are going to stack up by the end of the year, where I think like the big dogs are going to be Last of Us in Cyberpunk as I see it, right? And then right under that I think is going to be Doom 2016, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and RE3. I could probably see in there.
For Game of the Year?
For Game of the Year, yeah.
Doom 2016?
Or Doom Eternal, sorry. Yeah. I keep forgetting what year it is.
That's a great game. It's just hard to believe
honestly,
it came back.
Man, make a Game of the Year every year. But this is my first experience. This is going to be my first experience with Final Fantasy VII, I should say. Like my first full experience, because I've tried out the Maker Reactor section of the original Final Fantasy VII specifically. And I played that like multiple times, and I never really made it past because I couldn't get invested in it, because Final Fantasy VII is an old game by now, and it's been one of those things where it's like old game's old, and that game is kind of aged weirdly in terms of playing it as a game. Granted, it's turn based, and so it's not like playing like a action heavy game, but still it's one of those things where it's like I just don't feel invested in this.
Yeah.
And so playing the demo for the remake, like the preview demo, not the demo that's up on PlayStation, on the PlayStation Store. The demo me and Tim did was like 3-4 hours long. We played different sections of the game. The ways
Do you know how long this PlayStation Store demo is?
I think it's the first chapter.
It's what I did at PAX, right? No, you.
Well,
why
yeah,
would you know? It's where I fight the scorpion or spider guy or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
it was like the first boss.
Yeah, okay.
In like the
Mako dude.
Yeah, the Mako section. The ways in which they present the story and present the narrative in this remake really actually have me fascinated and invested in what's going on in a way that I did not feel when I was originally playing the game. I didn't really care about what was going on at all. I was just like, okay, cool. I gotta blow up this place, whatever.
Fuck them.
Yeah, the ways in which they present the story beats, and they present the situation at hand as far as Cloud, Barrett, not you Barrett, but the Barrett in the game, that whole crew being involved with like environmental activism and trying to save the world by causing destruction, all this stuff. I'm like, wow, this is actually very deep, and I'm actually interested in everything that's going on, let alone the characters, the ways in which they interact. Though, like, I don't know if this is in the demo. Actually, I don't know if this is a spoiler, so I probably can't say it. But there are certain scenes where Cloud will meet a character, and I was like, that was kind of a weird meeting, but whatever. It was very like anime in that sort of way, but still there is a lot of heart in it, which I appreciate, in like the characters and the way they talk and in the ways in which they present that I really like. And the gameplay I think is really fun. It's action RPG-ish in the ways that it doesn't downplay the RPG half of it, right?
Okay.
Like it feels very much strategic still. Like even though it's not turn based, even though it is like you are mashing square to get off your combos, it still does feel like you have to be attentive and you have to manage like, okay, what is this enemy's weakness? All right, who do I need to switch to in order to activate this move? All right, I need to get into my menu so I can, use this ability. All that stuff I think really feels strategic, and I was very much into the combat. And yeah, if you want to hear more of what I have to say, check out First Impressions, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames.
There it is. Good job. Good
Yeah,
man.
really, really enjoyed my demo. Aside from that, I played.
Aside from that, you've been playing like 900 things.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot. One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. I played a little bit of that over the last week.
How that held up?
It was fun for the first 30 minutes.
Sounds about right.
And then at a certain point, I was like, why is there so much talking in this game that it's a fighting game? And you're put into like this overworld, and you're playing your own hero that you create. One Punch Man, by the way, are you familiar with One Punch Man?
Yeah.
It's basically a parody of like shonen anime. And so the whole deal with One Punch Man is that the main character in One Punch Man is a guy named Saitama. I almost called him One Punch Man, which might also be his name. I don't know. But Saitama is basically so powerful that he can kill anybody with one punch.
He's bored as hell, right?
And he's bored. Yeah, that's like the whole conceit of the show, is that it's a parody. He's bored because he's so strong and he's the hero and all that stuff. And I was expecting this game to kind of take advantage of that, which they do a little bit, but in ways where I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, you can play as Saitama and get one punch on a character and they're dead. And that happens a few times.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and it's like that happens and it's like, all right, cool. For the most part, you're playing as your own created character and you're getting to fights. All the characters are kind of generic because that's kind of the nature of the anime, is that everybody else in the anime is pretty generic, I feel like. Like, it being a parody, it is parodying like the
known stereotypes.
Yeah, the
right?
known
And
stereotypes, the
archetypes.
the ridiculousness of like these heroes and villains in anime. And it feels like playing this game that it didn't. The game almost doesn't understand that it's a parody. And so I'm just playing like these stereotypical, like, boring characters, and I'm just like, all right, cool. And I'm fighting, and the fighting system's not that great. It's like serviceable, but it's not that great. And so I had fun at first punching people and using the special moves, but after a certain point I was like, all right, this feels like there's no skill to it. And so yeah, it was whatever.
It was whatever.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Greg, what about you? What have you been playing?
Like I said, Dreams and the Creation Suite, which has been really cool. Been working on a game for review that I can't talk about. I had done a whole bunch more Fortnite. We streamed Fortnite. You can catch that on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Me, Barrett, Andy, tearing it up. Mainly me. 13 elims, no big deal. You know what I mean, Barrett? You can say you were impressed. It's okay.
I mean, how many were bots though, Greg?
You know, it doesn't matter because it's fucking a kill is a kill is a kill, and the XP is the XP. Don't try to take this away from me, all right?
All right.
Wash your tongue. Oh my God! Wow. I watched that and it was hypnotic. For me, like I said, the big thing this week is going to be the Division 2 Warlords of New York. Off to Canada tomorrow night on a red eye, but you bet your ass I'm packing that PS4. 10 new levels to tear through. Of course, Fran and I had gotten to go and play Warlords a couple weeks ago for preview, and it's just exactly what I'd want out of Division. A giant new area over in New York. Division 2 is all set in DC. Now you're over in New York. More gear to chase, more story, more level, and then next week, once this is out for 1 week, they introduce seasons, which will be these 3-month seasons that are just what you'd expect based on Fortnite and Apex and all that stuff, right? Of like, it's a season where there's 100 ranks to go up through that via XP. There's multipliers. There's a battle pass. There's unlocking all this stuff. Like, it sounds, for somebody who loves the Division gameplay as much as I do, it's exactly what I want out of it, of a reason to turn on the Division whenever I'm in that moment of like, what should I play? Do the Division, crank out a few levels or whatever, work on that. So I'm super stoked to get home and do that. But like I said, gotta watch fucking Shazam. However, I want to give everybody a shout out. The other thing I played this week, Firewall 0 Hour. Last week, of course, we did the first ever PS I Love You XOXO Playdate, where we invited all of you to download the free PlayStation game of the month, Firewall 0 Hour, and then play with us in VR. Of course, Blessing immediately screwed it up.
I went and played after you guys.
Oh, okay. Did you play with any fans? You didn't run anybody?
No,
of course.
And
not.
I sucked. I don't even think I got one. Actually, no, I got literally one kill.
Yeah,
because I'm playing with a controller. And
but you didn't update the game beforehand.
Also,
so
I didn't
got home and there was like
the
a 5 gig update. Like,
it wasn't even 5. It was like 18 gigs.
Wow, okay,
and it took like an hour and a half for it to download. And
I'll do it.
Yeah, when that was happening, I was like, I'll just play Beat Saber. So I also played Beat Saber.
Well, that's your problem. You can't download if you play something while you download something. It takes even longer.
Even if it's not online, though.
Well, everything's online, right? In some way.
It's just leaderboards in Beat
But just
Saber.
think about it. It's
Processing
still,
power.
Processing power
like
is being
your CPU.
allocated from being able to download to running a game.
How much processing power is needed to download a thing?
I mean,
And none of us are system architect Mark Cerny.
Yeah, I'm not
all right? I
Kevin.
can't tell you.
Mark
like,
Cerny, call me up. I want to know why
Yeah.
can't I download and play at the same time?
Well, you call your best friend Larry. Jacuzzi Strangler writes in to patreon.com/kindafunnygames and says, will you and Papa Bless be doing more PS I Love You XOXO playdates with the Kinda Funny best friends in the future? Party time, Schwing and I had a blast playing Firewall with you, Greg. Part of what made the experience so amazing for us is that Firewall, like many PSVR games, and the platform itself, does not have the mainstream appeal of games like COD or FIFA. While games like Firewall, when he says, while games like Firewall lack in mass adoption, they make up for in tight-knit, friendly, grassroots type communities. Playing games like Firewall on PSVR satisfies a tinge of childhood nostalgia for me. Friday nights, going through the aisles of the local Blockbuster with my older brother, looking for some obscure title that we heard about from some friends that we could play together on our Sega Genesis. It was awesome to have you out there in the wild, and Schwing and I would love to hop into a few more PSVR multiplayer games that use that Kinda Funny TLC. That's the whole point. Again, like, PlayStation approached us saying like, hey, it's the free thing. They hit up me and David from Upload VR and we're like, can we do a stream? Can we do this thing? And I was like, we can't support a stream, but I'm down to support this because obviously First Contact was so awesome about coming in, being on the PlayStation VR show, hanging out with us and talking it. And obviously I love that game, Firewall, so much. David for Upload streamed it that night. We got in there and we just ran random games with everybody out there and had everybody come to one thing. I definitely think we'll do it in the future. Whether it'll be PlayStation VR or not, who knows? Who's to say? But I'd love your feedback. I can put it in the form. I should make a note right now before I forget. Hold on. Form. That says from, but I'll understand. Feedback. PSVR game. If it's not there in the morning on the participation thread for PS I Love You, which of course you can get at kindafunny.com/Patreon. Tweet me, everybody, and I'll add it in there so we can get suggestions for other games to play that we could all jump in and do a game night. But if you didn't know, it's too late now because it's March, but Firewall Zero, what a game. So much fun. You know what I mean? Playing with that, aim move controller.
I'm sad I didn't have that. I didn't figure out until some messing around with it that I couldn't play with just the move controllers, that I needed the actual attachment.
Yeah, otherwise you had to play the DualShock.
Yeah, and so I was kind of bummed out that I couldn't play.
Sure.
With move controllers.
My big problem is that, and I think it was actually Schwing who was asking me about it, right? Is that I wanted, so many people they 3D print the stocks. Because you know how like you have the move. Do we have the gun here by any chance? Barry, have you seen that aim controller around here?
Last time I saw it,
Did Kevin take it home?
it was at your desk, so
Oh shit,
if
yeah.
it's not over there, then I don't know.
No, it might be. It doesn't matter. But you have it, but like, so you're aiming like this or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But like, people were 3D printing stocks,
That's
so you can put them
really
to your
cool.
shoulder and do it. And
That's
like,
awesome.
Somebody asked me, and I was like, "Fuck no, I never did. I'd love to do that. If you make those, hit me up at Game Over Greg on Twitter because I'll
That's
buy
really
one off
cool.
you." Great game, amazing stuff. It's cool how much they've added to it, how much they've changed, how much fun it still is to play. If you didn't know, it's Rainbow Six Terrorist Hunt, but it's in VR and it all works. And you walk around in real time, 4v4. You defend, then you attack, and vice versa. So much fun. Signal jammers are the bane of my existence because like you have to hack the computer to win, right? So there'd be matches where we'd killed everybody, but then to use the computer, we had to destroy the jammer. But like since it's VR, you can hide it wherever you can hide it. So people go under the tables and hide them, and they just have to keep them in range. So you're like walking around listening for beeps, and maybe they're above you on the ceiling above, and it's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. You don't care. Blessing. Of course, what we play every week is one PSN game in a segment we call 104 PSN games ranked. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, you go to kindafunny.com/104list. Each week, we read through the drop on the PlayStation blog and pick a different PSN game to play. The next week, we report back to you and rank all the games in one ridiculous list. The rules are simple. We can't pick the same game. We can't pick something that's AAA, and it should be something we were going to play anyway. Today, we will be adding 2 more games, which will bring us to a total of 16. Currently, the top 10 look like this. You can get the full list, like I said, kindafunny.com/104list. Number 1. Darwin Project. Number 2, Foxyland 2. Number 3, Mosaic. Number 4, Zombie Army 4, Dead War. Number 5, Under Hero. Number 6, It Came From Space and Ate Our Brains. Number 7, Throw Anything. Number 8, Earth Knight. Number 9, Hunt Showdown. Number 10, Graveyard Keeper. This week, Blessing Adeoye Jr., you drew Space Channel 5 VR, Kinda Funky Newsflash.
Yeah.
I drew Spartan Fist. Who would like to begin?
I can begin.
Okay.
Space Channel 5 VR Kinda Funky Newsflash. It was a disappointment.
Oh, no!
Upon disappointment.
No!
Because the sucky thing about the game is, like, at its very core, it's like somewhat fun, But the game is, I kid you not, 25 to 30 minutes long, and that's about it. And so I got it. We didn't get codes, and so I bought it on the store, and it was like $40, which made me think, oh, this is about to be like a media experience.
It's a real
All right.
game, yeah.
Yeah, it's PSVR. And basically, it's Space Channel 5, right? It is a call and response rhythm game. Since you're in VR, you're playing with the Move controllers, and you're actually doing the movements to the music, right? And so it is Ulala, who is like the main girl in Space Channel 5.
You know her.
Yeah, you know Ulala. She basically, there's a space invasion, and the way you solve the space invasion is through dance. You dance, and all your problems are solved. Also, you're on a news station for some reason. And you're following Ulala's movements. You're dancing against aliens. The aliens will do like a movement, and so they'll be like left, right, chew, or well, they say chew. They're saying shoot, I believe. And so it's like left, right, shoot, and you repeat those movements back to them, kind of like Parappa the Rapper. That kind of call and response movement. And so you do the moves left, right, shoot, and you're taken through 4 different stages. Each stage is probably like 6 to 7 minutes long. And I finished it, and when I finished it, I was like, I can't believe this is over, because it, like, when I say it was 25 minutes long, like, I was expecting this game to be, I don't know, man, 2 to 3 hours.
Sure.
I was expecting it to feel like a full experience. Like, I paid $40 and so I was expecting it to be substantial, and I finished it and I was like, oh, all right, maybe if I go to the arcade mode, and the arcade mode is literally just the story mode again.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, all right. And then there's like one other mode that's like the 100 challenge mode or whatever, but I didn't even bother, because I was like, all right, I'm already done with this thing, because it's fun enough to where I would have liked more, but not fun enough to where I'd recommend it to anybody. Like, I could only recommend it to people who are really into Space Channel 5. If you are not a fan of Space Channel 5, do not get this game. Like, I don't think it's worth it. It like, the music itself was like fine. The detection on the moves didn't even feel like it was that tight. Like, I hit all the moves. I was getting perfects, and so it wasn't even a thing of the replayability is there. I was doing perfect runs by the time I got to the third and fourth stage.
Okay.
And so it wasn't like, I'm gonna try this again over and over again to get trophies or anything. Like, I had gotten trophies for like
I got trophies, god damn it.
Yeah, for getting perfect runs. And so, that wasn't there. Like, it's a rhythm game, it's a dance game, and since it's PSVR, you can only really play single player.
Okay.
And so I feel like dance games only being single player is kind of because I feel like that kind of experience you want to have with other people, right? You think of Just Dance, you think of stuff like that, you think of Dance Dance Revolution, and I guess Dance Dance Revolution is a game you can play by yourself, but still, this kind of game where it is motion based, you kind of want to play with other people, and you can't. So overall, I was bummed with it, mainly for the lack of content, though. That was like the big egregious thing. If this had more content, then I'd be a little bit more positive on it, but overall, it was not a good experience.
Lame.
Overall, it was a very short experience, which made it not a good experience.
Sure. Well, if the tracking isn't good either on the move, or it's not doing anything.
It wasn't like terrible, but yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I did Spartan Fist, which is from Glass Bottom Games, the people working on Skatebird, who's like, hell yeah, and they were part of the showcase. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this, and this looked totally cool. And I jumped in, and it was like, oh no. Like, no, this isn't totally cool. And it's not bad, it's just like, I feel like it is one note throughout. And this is, the whole point of the 104 PSN games ranked, right, is us playing these different PSN games, screwing around with them. These aren't full-fledged reviews by any stretch of the imagination, right? So what had happened is we had picked this. I had gotten a code. I had jumped in and started playing it, I think, Tuesday of last week. And as soon as I started it up and played it, I was like, oh, man, like, the neon pink of this, the text or the font they're using, just even the way the camera's moving is giving me a headache. And I'm like, that's got to be me being exhausted, right? And I put it down. I'm like, I'll come back when I'm not exhausted. Got caught up in my review, and like literally last night in bed, I was like, oh yeah, P.S. I love you tomorrow. Oh fuck. And so I downloaded, played it at my desk, and it's I still find the colors and font egregious, and like they're grating on me, right?
Yeah.
But like the camera isn't that bad. But overall, the game is just a first-person puncher. So you're running, it's a first-person puncher roguelike. So you're running, you kill some stuff, you earn some coins, you come back, and then you can, go to an upgrade board and buy different kinds of fists to use or buy different kind of fists that you'll then be able to find in the level to use. Mm-hmm. But it's literally, I just feel like from what I played, it's totally one note of like the environments all feel the exact same and look the exact same. Like that first run didn't feel any better or worse than the last run I did. You know what I mean? The more I played it, it wasn't like, oh, I'm really getting into the groove. Or anything. It was just like, I'm running and punching. You can change between a bunch of different stances, but rather than do that thing of like, we're slowly teaching you, it kind of just drops them all on you. So I never was like, well, wait, which one? And I didn't feel like, when I did change them, I didn't feel like I was getting much out of this. Why would I be doing that? Going through and doing the different upgrades and the different fists, I just felt like my punches would take longer or be a little bit more damaging. But overall, it was just like, I played, I don't know, a dozen times. I did a dozen runs in this roguelite or whatever. It's like, I don't want to play this. I don't want to play this. And again, like, I'm not saying it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's not broken. It's not like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, for $15, I was like, nah, not what I'd be doing. Not at all. Yeah. So, bless. We're into the back half of the list here, I guess, then, for where these are going.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So number 9 is Hunt the Showdown. Number 10, Graveyard Keeper. Number 11, Eclipse Edge of Light. Number 12, Katana Kami, A Way of the Samurai Story. Number 11, Music Racer. Number 14, Brain Breaker.
I'm putting it below Graveyard Keeper for sure, but what I want to know from you is how does it sound compared to Eclipse Edge of Light?
Eclipse Edge of Light, I felt it's longer, so you're getting more game than you were out of what you're talking about for Space Channel VR.
Space Channel 5.
And then I would say, I liked Eclipse Edge of Light. I just didn't think it challenged me or did anything. I enjoyed the experience of walking through it. I think it sounds like it's below that for me personally.
Okay. I'm going to put it below Eclipse Edge of Light then.
All right, so
for
you're putting
Space Channel 5 VR, kind of funky newsflash.
All right, so that's where you're putting that at number 12. For me, then, to put Spartan Fist in the running, I ask you, how does it compare to Music Racer? Because I would have Katana Kami, a game that I thought was one note as well. It's it's like Moonlighter, but Moonlighter is way more interesting and blah blah blah. I could still see. Oh, I like Way of the Samurai. Oh, I just want a brainless game to go dungeon crawl and okay, do that Katana Kami. Whereas this, like, I really want a first person punch. I'm like, there's got to be a better solution than this. You know what I mean? Like, where does that compare to Music Racer for you?
Did it feel like it had effort put into it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like,
because Music Racer, like, at a certain point, I was like, wow, they really just wanted to put out a game.
Yeah, I think it definitely it's. There are choices made here, and it's an indie. This is literally like, it's a first-person puncher roguelite from a very small, and I don't want to speak out of turn. I think it's just Meg, right? It's just Meg from Glass Bottom Games, who's also doing Skatebird. So it's like, with that kind of structure of it, that's what I think it is. And she tried for sure. Like, this is a game that they definitely were working on.
Because Music Racer, the only thing Music Racer had going for it was visually it was stunning, but it felt like it was barely a game. And so it sounds like it goes above Music Racer.
Okay, just making sure. Then yeah, I'll put it there at number 14, bumping Music Racer down to 15 and Brain Breaker down to 16. Spartan Fist, I almost forgot. All right, so then now it's number 12, Space Channel 5, 13, Katana Kami, 14, Spartan Fist, 15, Music Racer, 16, Brain Breaker. That will be updated, of course, on kindafunny.com/104 list. But then we come to the big part of the show where we have to guess and pick what we will be taking on from the drop next week. I'm over on the PlayStation blog reading from Justin Massengill's The Drop. So far for this week, we have these. 60 Seconds on PlayStation 4. 60 Seconds is a dark comedy, atomic adventure of scavenge and survival. Collect supplies and rescue your family before the nuke hits. Stay alive in your fallout shelter. Make difficult decisions. Ration food and hunt mutant cockroaches. And maybe survive. Or not.
It doesn't sound bad, but I don't like the title art for it. That's not
the title art looks very, very indie.
Yeah.
Amoeba Battle, microscopic RTS action on PlayStation 4. Amoeba Battle is a new breed of real-time strategy game where you control versatile amoebas in the battle for the microscopic world. Unlike other RTS games, there are no bases to build. New amoebas are created through the miracle of binary fission. Breeder, homegrown, director's cut, PlayStation 4 and Vita. It lives. Breeder Homegrown is a short horror game about a family dealing with a strange creature over several generations. You will encounter some puzzles, but the game relies mostly on atmosphere, music, and dialogues. In the director's cut version, dialogues have been streamlined. Some issues have been fixed. And if you look closely enough, you might find some new little surprises. Dogfighter WW2 on PS4. New Sky Battle Royale has arrived. Real dogfighting battle royale based on World War II. Be part of the grand sky battle with warplanes such as Mustang, Spitfire, Messerschmitt, Zero Sven. Customize the way you want with 40 people. You are the ruler of the sky.
Wait. Okay, you're not playing as dogs.
No, yeah, it seems like if you're an audio listener, the title art is a dog in a cockpit, so it definitely to me was like, oh, it's gonna be like a big dogs flying planes.
Oh,
seems
man.
like no, it is just.
I definitely pictured like dogs with like parachutes
Totally.
on their back, and they're like fighting each other in the sky.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I thought they were flying the planes, but either way. Grand Blue Fantasy versus PS4. Take the fight to new heights on the PlayStation 4. Legendary fighting game studio Arc System Works and Psy Games team up to bring the Grand Blue Fantasy universe to the home console in an action-packed head-to-head fighter. Grand Blue Fantasy versus features a colorful cast of the most popular crewmates, each with a unique fighting style that is easy to learn but hard to master. Wolfrain on PS4. Wolfrain is a third-person hero shooter with different characters to choose from. Play with your teammates and defeat the opposing team through matches full of dynamic elements. Join your teammates to gain control of Wolfrain, the most valuable and coveted energetic resource in the entire universe. Pathological 2, PlayStation 4.
Pathologic.
Thank you very much. Pathologic, too. Is a narrative-driven and dramatic thriller about fighting a deadly outbreak, in a secluded rural town. You are a healer, and to save anyone, you'll have to survive in this bleak and strange world, where even food and medicine are scarce. Just in the middle of this, I was like, oh, man, you asked to switch off this week, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
A long time ago. Okay, cool. Well, anyways, you take Separation, and we'll
All
start
right.
switching from here.
Oh, okay. Separation. Separation is a first-person adventure at its most ambient and atmospheric. A meditation on solitude, loss, and the spiritual path. Separation is a unique journey to a place of epic desolation. Featuring a sublime electronic soundtrack by Vector Lovers, Separation is the ultimate chill-out trip.
That's on PlayStation VR. Syrup in the Ultimate Suite on PlayStation 4 and Vita. It lives. Syrup finds a candy golem in her basement. Could the two become friends and finally complete the Ultimate Suite? In a magical town, there lives a candy alchemist, Syrup, who one day discovers a candy golem in her basement. Where did she come from? Who could have made her? Go find out.
What in the world?
Okay, I've got a couple questions here.
Look at that.
What
Find
is
that on YouTube.
What does complete the Ultimate Suite mean? And then didn't they just like kind of say the one thing twice?
Yeah.
Syrup finds a candy golem in her basement. Could the two become friends? In a magical town, there lives a candy alchemist, Syrup, who one day discovers a candy golem in her basement. Why did that need to be said again? What the fuck? What?
They're just trying to sell.
One of you guys have to play this.
They didn't. They're not here to I don't know, man, be grammatically correct. They're here to sell games, Barrett. Under Night In Birth EXE late CLR for PS4. Rule the night, control a deeper, darker fighting experience than ever before. Battle with 21 unique characters, including the all-new Londrekia with his original moves, story, stage, and music. Master devastating new combos and dazzling special attacks in online arcade, story, and training modes.
It's a week.
What a week.
It is a week.
Honestly, the only two that like stick out to me are the two fighting games, being Under Night In Birth, because I've heard quite a bit about Under Night In Birth, and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. But
Okay.
I feel like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus kind of skates the line as far as like, because it's not
AAA.
but like
But it's known.
It's known, and it's like has budget enough. Like it's being developed by
Arc System Works.
System
That's
Works,
a real, yeah.
who
that's
does Dragon
a
Ball
real-
Fighters.
That was insulting. I'm sorry.
and-
A bigger name developer.
Yeah, like Dragon Ball Fighters, Guilty Gear Xrd, like big name fighting games. So I feel like I'd be cheating to go with Grand Blue.
Okay. I have no qualms, and you haven't mentioned it, so I am calling Separation.
Okay.
I'm taking the PlayStation VR game where I will chill. Separation is the ultimate chill out trip. I love chilling out, and I love trips. Now, before you make your final call, Barrett, to Kind of Funny Control, I am sending a YouTube video here for Syrup in the Ultimate Suite. Because I think this is something that could be up your alley, boss.
All right.
Show this to the people there, Barrett.
Oh.
Look at this.
No, this is awful.
It's a visual novel. Skip ahead. Get to the gameplay, because I've been skipping through to the gameplay. Just skip. Just click.
This is a visual novel?
Just click. Just click. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Click to the gameplay. Skip a little bit further.
Yeah, that's why.
Just click right there.
Is this all not the
Click
gameplay?
right there.
I was just being
Huh.
a scaredy cat.
Well, like, no, at some point you probably make a decision, right? It's not just playing out, right? Skip. There you go. Hit that. That's the game. No. Huh.
Oh, is it just? Oh, what's happening here? Why did Barrett click off?
What are you talking about? That's the candy golem, clearly. We read the description
has
4
a close
times.
ear.
Why?
Well, that's because now they gotta figure out where to put her. You know what I mean? Like, now that she's there.
All right. I'll see you in the morning.
This is making me very uncomfortable.
How
There's one YouTube video here with 74,000 views that said when a candy girl wants to be eaten, syrup in the ultimate
Oh, I
sweet.
gotta
And then it's a
edit
guy
it out.
freaking out.
part?
Oh yeah, that's oh my god. Okay, wow.
I feel like
Like that
my
when they
God.
pull the dialogue box away from the naked golem girl, that's when you're like, oh, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit.
I feel like choosing this one is a risk because it might not be on the store soon. I feel like one might get taken down at some point.
how so?
So here you go. So here's a dialogue from Candy Girl, who I believe is, of course, the golem right there. I promise I taste good. Here, just start with a finger.
Oh God, no!
Barrett, okay, they're not showing this on. Okay, good.
That's not. I want to say it.
I'm gonna skip that one.
Okay, well, it's out there if you want it. Just putting it out there. That is an option.
I'm looking up Axis Games, who does Under Night in Birth.
I mean, you should just jump, man. You know what I mean? You're getting all tied up in it. What you gotta do.
I'm just gonna do Under Night in Birth.
All right.
Yeah,
Under
that's
Night
one
in
that
Birth.
I've heard people talk about. I'm not a big 2D fighter person. I usually suck at 2D fighters, being games like Street Fighter or Marvel vs. Capcom. Under Night in Birth is a 2D fighter,
Okay.
but why not?
You live once.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
And Dragon Ball Fighters, I really like. I know that's from Arc Systems, but I'm saying not all 2D fighters are dead to me.
Okay.
I can try out Under Night in Birth.
I'm
EXE,
proud of you.
Late Clur.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, you will not find out what we think of those games. Next week, remember, of course, the PlayStation underrateds. PS I Love You, XOXOs, PlayStation underrateds. The underrated gems of all the PlayStation generations in one place, meaning that we have not forgotten our work. What we've talked about is that we will put these up on Twitter, promote them that way, I believe, and then, of course, talk about them when we return for episode 11. All right, Barrett, you get all that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Barrett.
Do we spend the first 5 minutes talking about Frankie Muniz? Who knows?
Who knows?
You'll have to find
He
out.
is he an underrated? Find out. Let me tell you, I've made a lot of content in my career. The underrateds I'm pretty proud of.
Oh no, that was great.
That was a great show,
episode.
and we
great
drank a
episode.
lot of bourbon, so you understand how it's going to end.
Like halfway through, I was like, shoot, I've lost control.
Speaking of losing control, Greg Way, let's lose control of the show and hear about our sponsors. Today's episode of PS I Love You XOXO is brought to you by MeUndies. Imagine your 5th grade self looking into the future and learning that as an adult, you got an Undies membership. They would laugh hysterically, but joke's on them, because MeUndies is known for their super soft undies and their flexible fun membership. If you choose to sign up, you'll get perks like site-wide savings, free shipping, and new undies delivered to your door each month. Go forth, be an adult, and sign up for that Undies membership, even if your past self is laughing at you. You don't need me to tell you, but I'll do it anyways. I love MeUndies. You know this. I got my first pair a long time ago. Liked them so much, I threw away all my other underwear, ordered more MeUndies, and that's all I wear now. Wearing them right now. Isn't that right, Barrett? You checked me earlier. They're soft. They're easy. They come in fun prints. They got fun onesies. They got fun pajama pants. They got these clubs. You got to get into it. MeUndies doesn't just make undies, as I've said. They have loungewear, which recently had a glow up. Check out their new line of styly micro-modal loungewear you can wear in and out of the house. They know they're on every podcast, but that's just because they're trying to take over the world with undie domination, and they won't stop until you try them. Now, they got a great reason too. MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. For any first-time purchaser, you'll get 15% off and free shipping. This is a no-brainer, especially because they have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and Greg Miller loves them. To get your 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/PSILY. That's MeUndies.com/PSILY. MeUndies, the only underwear Greg Miller wears. They didn't give me a tagline, so I made that up. All right. Bless. It's time for reader mail.
It is.
Of course, you can be part of the show, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Just like Michael Knight did, whose question was so good, it got the headline, for this episode.
Oh.
It is. So if you are one of the YouTube people pissed off that the first hour and 50 minutes had
start
nothing to do with the fucking headline and the thumbnail, I'm sorry. I hope you saw that.
Do the timestamp.
We do the time codes right
Yeah.
there. There's time codes for this show.
They start talking about
Yeah.
the topic an hour and 55
Exactly.
minutes. into the
There you
show.
go. Sorry
All right,
about that.
there's the
Anyways,
comment for
though,
you.
Michael Knight's question is so good. I felt like it had to lead the show. Good morning, KF GD hosts. That's right. I liked this question so much I stole it from Kind of Funny Games Daily. It has never been asked before, though. I'm just saying I liked it. I put it in PS. I love you, XOXO. The Last of Us Part 2 is now less than 2 months away. I have a few fun questions. Blessing, are you ready to answer them as they come?
Oh, I'm so ready.
I want you to clear your mind, all right? I don't want you to
right.
sit here and be like, you know what I need to do is actually think that you get in this, all right? You ready?
Yep.
Will Ellie and by the way, these are full spoilers for The Last of Us Part 1. Will Ellie find out that Joel lied about what happened in the hospital?
Yes, 100%.
Why?
Because that's storytelling. I think it'd be so like there. It would not be satisfying if she didn't in part 2. I feel like if that was like a hanging thread that never. They have to revisit it in some way. I don't know how they revisit it without that actually being told to her, without her finding out in some way, whether it's through somebody else or whether she's talking to the Fireflies and it's one of them being like, like you don't understand, like you were here, like we needed you. In fact, I don't know how she goes to being however old she is and the Fireflies still being around as a thing, and not have somebody tell her that like, by the way, Joel murdered everybody.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Is that it's a great. I agree with you 100%. Michael Knight's question here: will Ellie find out that Joel lied about what happened in the hospital? Yes, she will. How she does, I don't know. And I do actually remind me at some point to give you my follow-up question to the question. But to your point, theoretically, and I could be completely wrong, discuss in the comments amongst yourself, but theoretically, Joel killed everybody in that fucking building. So, and if not everybody, the doctors for sure, the nurses for sure.
But you
right?
only I think in my playthrough, I think I only shot one doctor.
Yeah, I
killed
heard
Ellie,
this. You
and
didn't
then
have
left.
to. You didn't have
Wait,
to.
did you kill all the doctors?
Fuck yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I've talked about this. This is like the moment where I first off just I compliment the game more than anything of getting to that moment where it was Joel. I bust in as Joel, and I always talk about this. I waited for the option to pop up of hit X to kill them, circle to stand down, expecting it to be this choice, and instead the doctor ran over and scalped me in the neck and killed me. And I was like, oh fuck,
wait, really?
I have to kill them.
I didn't realize the doctors could attack
So
you.
when I went back and did it, yeah, I fucking killed everybody. I'm not dying, you know what I mean? And I got Ellie out of there. But you're right. I actually think you're right that I have heard that before. But the argument could be made that he killed just about everybody, right?
Yeah.
So who is left to know? Is that something they're actually getting out and talking about? Is it just an urban legend? Is that?
I feel like
That
even-
seems too easy.
Yeah,
almost,
and I feel
though.
like even then, even if he kills everybody in the hospital, there are other Fireflies that are going to check up on the people in the hospital, right? There are people that are in contact with people in the hospital that have to know that, oh yeah, wasn't Joel the one who was bringing what was supposed to be the cure to
But
this
that's the
place,
whole thing,
and
too, is
Joel's
like-
out free? Like,
Is that something
happened.
they bragged about though? That everybody knew what this mission was that they were doing and bringing.
I would
Ellie
think
in?
that there would be a network, right? Somehow Tess knew,
Yeah.
right? Somehow that word got to Tess, and they need to bring How did that word get to Tess? Actually, was it like a
God,
down the line thing, or was it like Tess being like, "Oh shit, we need to get her here"? When they arrived at the hospital, was it Joel saying that like, "By the way, she has the cure," or was it them already expecting her to be there?
Well, remember, like,
It's been so long.
oh, I know,
since
but I
played.
mean, remember when they got introduced? I mean, when Joel gets Ellie, he doesn't understand at first she is the cure, right? Like he just knows that he's taking a girl. Like they were being coded.
Oh, yeah.
They were being coded about what exactly was going on.
Uh-huh.
It's revealed as he plays through. Are you watching a playthrough right now to see if you?
Yeah,
kill a
I'm trying to
doctor?
see who, like, if you have to kill all the people. This person in their playthrough is taking their sweet time.
Hey man, it's video games. Let them enjoy themselves. All right, don't get into them.
So let's play.
Hold on, I'm like on the verge of a sneeze, but I can't decide what I want to do.
Bless you.
No, I don't want
shot
to.
him in the foot.
He's dead now. You're gonna bleed out.
Yeah.
That's the most bleedy part of your body, the foot. All that aside, will Ellie find out what happened at the hospital? Yes.
Yeah.
Who reveals it? I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a Fireflies. I wonder if it's Tommy. I wonder if it's Joel himself even. You know what I mean?
I imagine.
I think
and-
for that reveal to her to be emotionally poignant, I think it has to come from him.
Which I think first
But
off,
see, my next question was: does it even happen in the game, or does it happen before we even get our hands on the controller?
that was what I was gonna ask you too.
Yeah.
And I think no. I do not think that has happened before. That is a moment
Really?
that I don't think they'd have that moment happen off screen. And this is spoilers for Last of Us Part 2, based on what I played. Not a huge one, but for literally the narrative thread we're having right now, is that Ellie in the demo I played with Dina, right, is talking about watching a movie with Joel that night. So
Okay.
if that had happened,
Their
I think they
relationship-
wouldn't be talking. There'd be
Yeah.
a separation.
Because that would be my thing is, if I were to be writing these games, and
Neil Druckmann hit him up.
Last of Us Part 2 was taking place years and years and years after Last of Us Part 1, and Last of Us Part 1 ends the way it does, I would have it be so that that stuff happens during the years, and you come back and the relationship is fractured because the truth has come out, right? Because she figured out, or because Joel told her, however it happened, right? She figures out, and they come back, and we're at this place where it's like, oh shoot, like these are the ramifications of Joel's actions.
If it wasn't,
where we start.
if it wasn't for that line in my playthrough of the first part that you would have played at PAX East if the whole coronavirus hadn't happened, my interpretation was that they're still watching movies, they still have this father-daughter relationship, and that then I think it would have been more important and poignant than if that split had already happened, like you're saying, and then when Joel does show up and like he thought I'd let you do this on your own kind of thing, was him and her like reuniting in any kind of form for the first time. But it seems like they never left, which I think builds into this story. At some point, it's got to make it happen, and it could be as we're playing through, and their stories progressing. Again, a Firefly in quotes. Let's say that organization's totally fallen up by the wayside now, but they've fallen into different organizations. Has that like, wait, I remember you. Like they've captured him. I remember you. You were the cure, right? She's like, no, I wasn't. And I'm like, yes, you were. I have documentations. I have all this stuff. I remember. You know what I mean? And then Joel's there for that.
Man, I don't even know how I would feel about it being handled that way though. Like,
What if they were already separated and you were already on your way to save or help Joel or whatever, and you get there and he's hurt? Like, because the next question is, will Joel be alive at the end of this story?
No.
I say no.
Yeah. Tyler Wallace in the chat also brings up a good point of like, does Ellie care? Like, what if one of the big things is that like this is revealed to her and like she actually takes it in a different way that we're all expecting her to. When she gets revealed this thing, we're always expecting that she's going to flip the fuck out on Joel and feel betrayed and all of this stuff. But even at the end of the first game, right, where she's like, hey, do you have anything you want to tell me? And he's like, no, like that's how it all went down. You can tell in her eyes that
She does that sigh. She goes, okay.
Yeah.
And that does feel like her letting go. Like it's I always read that, and this is why games are great and performances in any kind of fiction is great. My read on that was she knows Joel's lying, but she doesn't care.
Yeah.
She's happy to have him alive. She's happy to be alive. This is good.
Yeah. Interesting question.
But do you
holy shit. I'm so
Right?
excited.
Michael Knight killed it. Good job, Michael Knight. You get to program the show from here on out.
Well,
Blessing's not sold. Yeah. Will Joel be alive at the end of the game?
oh man.
The problem is that saying he's going to die, which I do think he's
I
going
feel like
to.
that's the easy thing. I feel like it's the easy prediction to make, and I feel like Naughty Dog is good at not necessarily giving into the easy ideas of what's going to happen as far as like character deaths and all that
Predictability,
stuff,
yeah.
right? Like I feel like Uncharted 4 they did a pretty good idea of subverting expectation, and so
Even Last of Us Part 1 they did, right? Because
Yeah.
remember when Joel falls off and gets the rebarb through
Yeah.
the chest, and then like we jump cut to Winter, we shoot, and it's Ellie who's out hunting, and you take over as Ellie. I remember being like, holy fuck, like, am I now moving on the rest of the game this way?
yeah. My thing is, and this is the question specifically at the end of the game or by the end of the game, or will Joel be alive at the end of the game?
Yeah. I'm going to find a thing to
I think another thing that throws a wrench into it is the idea that she's getting revenge, right? And I think the easy answer is, or not the easy answer, but what we've been led to believe in the last trailer that came out in September was that it is her girlfriend that is biting the dust, and it's her and Joel that are going to get revenge. But really, it could be Joel bites the dust, and it's her and what's her girlfriend's name? Is it Dina?
It's Dina, right?
Yeah, her and Dina are going after whoever did it. And so, you know, I could see that.
So what do
happening.
you think? So hold on.
Because I don't think Dina's biting the dust. I don't think they're gonna kill Dina, because I think that is such a one as a trope. It is
Right, that was the
it-
whole thing of
it's-
when the whole thing got lobbed of like, oh my god, they're fridging her, like
Yeah.
what an easy out, blah blah. And my whole thing was, I think at this point, Naughty Dog understands the climate and understands what they're doing
Yeah.
and wouldn't do that. That's what it's being made to look like, which is great for me because I don't want to know what the game is going into the game.
Yeah, and I feel like they wouldn't go that route because they're Naughty Dog and they know and they're good. They're good writers over there, and so I don't see it being a revenge tale for Dina.
So what?
But-
so then,
so then
to be clear of what you think's going to happen based on what we've seen. You think we get the whole thing of her and Dina kissing.
Mm-hmm.
We do the walk around in the snow the next day. We get confronted with some bad guys. They kidnap Dina.
I don't even.
And then Joel and Ellie are like, we have to go out there and find, like, you know, I thought you, like, or, because, like,
I still. See,
What
I'm
if
still
Joel's
fuzzy.
the Vision?
what if Joel's the Vision?
A Vision.
No way.
A
like,
Vision,
I
no.
don't get me wrong, you remember the debut trailer?
Oh yeah, I remember.
And I was like, he's dead. This is totally a vision. She's having this in her head.
Yeah.
Having played what I played, I feel like that would be the most like eye-rolly corny shit. Now I'm basing this
Sixth
off
Sense type
the
thing.
one fucking frame of dropping over, getting grabbed by the back,
Yeah.
over your mouth, hand over your mouth. You're pulled into a thing. You turn like, what are you fucking doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, think I let you do this alone? And then he's like, turns into a vision or whatever, disappears. You know what I mean? That'd be like, all right.
I mean,
hang it up, Druckmann.
It's just like an unfortunate thing where they're talking about this being a revenge story, right? And the only two possibilities of her wanting to get revenge is either Joel is killed or his. Or
Are those
her
the only
girlfriend was
possibilities?
killed.
No, you're totally missing one of the great things that keeps getting overlooked. I still think it's her mother. I think there's a huge, because remember the trailer, we all forget that Laura Bailey trailer, right? Of
Yeah.
the woman hanging from the tree. They come up with a knife, they trace down to like her womb.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think that is a flashback to her mother, how she got the foes she made. Maybe she already gave birth to. No, that's not right. I think it was this is going to be a crucial
Yeah.
thing of like why her mother died, of how she got pushed out or whatever and got sent on her way.
And she
that's
learns
gonna
all
be-
about that, and she's like, I'm gonna fuck people up.
Exactly, and like I could have been with her, but this happened.
Oh, I like that
I
idea.
think that's tied into this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
Yeah.
It's all such a jumbled mess right
'Cause
now.
that's more-
Right.
Which is great. I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's more where I'm at because I feel like we've been kind of misled the last with like the major trailers of The Last of Us Part 2, right? Because the first trailer, yeah, we did have the thing with Joel coming to the door and Ellie being like, I'm gonna kill every last one of them. We got the last trailer, or the September trailer, which was that the one where we believe Dina got kidnapped? Yeah, I think that was September. And I feel like there was one trailer, maybe now I'm making this up in my head, where
Where they said I'm a vision.
where Joel's like, oh, I'm not really here.
No, I don't think it was September. I feel like it was whatever. It was the E3 trailer for 2 E3s ago.
Well, what was
where-
the trailer for September? Because we had the Last of Us Part 2 preview. Of it.
I feel like that was just like, wasn't that mainly like gameplay and just like a bunch of cuts of like random cutscenes and shit like that?
When
People,
was the- wasn't
people
it-
started talking about like the possible
was
fridging thing like 2 E3s ago.
Was that not this last fall? I feel like it came to I feel like it blew up a bit last fall.
It was at E3 because I remember watching it because it's where they're in the church barn thing or whatever, and it's them kissing, and then immediately after it switches over to her killing a bunch of people.
Yeah,
and that's
okay,
when
that
people are
makes
like,
sense.
"Oh fuck, this is gonna be about her getting revenge over her
Then
dead
it might
girlfriend."
be September where there was a trailer about where we thought that it might be actually Joel or something. Like I remember there being like a switcheroo.
The switcheroo was over when it started. We all thought it was going to be about Joel.
Okay.
And then it became about Dina.
Was that the switcheroo? Because I was trying to think of the switcheroo that happened. And so I feel like Naughty Dog has been playing this kind of smartly,
As they should.
right? Where they're just like they're messing around with this, which is why I don't think Dina's gonna be killed and it's gonna be revenge for Dina. I'm not necessarily sold that it's gonna be Joel. I think the idea that it's the mother is probably like actually the most likely one
Do we remember?
because they've not really teased it that way yet.
I'm right now. I've opened up Comixology and I'm on Last of Us: American Dreams. Remember this comic?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not gonna help. You're not gonna.
Wait, it's the
you're
Last
gonna
of Us
know.
comic?
Yeah.
Oh wait, maybe I do remember this. I remember
It's
there being a
before.
Last of Us
It's a
comic.
prequel of Last of Us.
Yeah.
It's not helping me right now. Because I don't remember at this point in my life the whole Ellie's mom in The Last of Us.
Separated from all that, I think Joel will probably be dead by the end of the game.
And I agree, but it's also the man, like, how are we going to do this when we teased it last time around, right? Does that matter that we already did the swerve in Last of Us Part 1 that he was dead? All right, here we go.
Do you think there's going to be a Last of Us Part 3?
No. Because I don't know. I mean, I never hold it past or I never put it out of the reach of Naughty Dog, but it's like this is very much a story they wanted to tell.
Because I feel like if there is a Last of Us Part 3, I could see Joel living on and being super old Joel, because I just feel like that'd be a cool concept. The Last of Us Part 3.
I think it's too early to say.
You think it's too early, sir?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like they already have.
I think it depends on where
they've got to know, though.
I don't think
they're not going to write this story with just like a.
I mean, did they write the first one already knowing that they were going to do it 2? I don't think they did. I think they only came back to 2 when
there was more story to tell.
Yeah, when he figured out what the story was going to be next. I don't think he.
Yeah, but
wrote
they didn't
one.
I don't feel like they wrote 1 with the idea that there's not going to be more after it, right? Like, I feel like at this point for Last of Us as an IP, you kind of, as Sony one, you want more, but then also as
like a big company that wants to make
but
it
and
like franchises,
also as Naughty
the
Dog,
people making the art.
That's what I'm saying. As Naughty Dog, this is a bigger thing this time around. Like, that, like, hey, if you want to make a third Last of Us, that's very much an option. Like, they're not making this in seclusion.
Yeah. I don't think we get a third one.
I don't either. Hold on. Okay. Now I'm caught up in why I'm all turned around. Because I'm paging. I got the Anna, the Ellie's mom's wiki page up from fandom, right? Mm-hmm. And there's no mention of the comic book. Why am I hung up on the comic book? And then I'm getting pointed back to, it's a thing in my own head, right? Where the comic that is out is the prequel. Faith Aaron Hicks drew it. Neil wrote it. It's really well done. You should read it. But it's just about Ellie, really, right? And I'm getting hung up on in Uncharted. In the I don't want to spoil Uncharted 4 for you, but at the end of Uncharted 4, there's a poster there for what looks to be The Last of Us American Daughters, which is a pregnant woman in a gas mask that looks in the same art style as, not the same art style, but it's got the Dark Horse logo on it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Totally sidetracking myself. Anyways, though, after the outbreak, this is for Anna, this is the actual canon. After the outbreak, she became pregnant sometime between January and April in 2019 and gave birth to her daughter, who she named Ellie. She died within a day of giving birth to her, but she had time to write Ellie a letter. Before Anna died, Marlene promised to look after Ellie in her absence. She would keep her promise despite her position as leader of the Fireflies. After that, Marlene took care of Ellie for a while, but eventually put her in the military boarding school. That's where the comic is. Mm-hmm.
I can see it being the mother. I
I'm trying to figure.
I think that
there's
really
enough
is, like,
in there of like
plausible.
whose actions put the mother on the run. Or if she was on the run, who is she trying to get away from? I think it's gonna be interesting of whose this is, and the fact that Naughty Dog has had their hands tied and hasn't been able, like, oh, it's such a trope thing, and they're fridging her, and they're like, play the game. You know what I mean? We can't ruin the story for you. I mean, you want to know the real question that Michael Knight doesn't ask here: how does The Last of Us Part 2 open? Last of Us Part 1, and I don't know if you all remember this because we're all old now and have played this game and it's been years, right? Like, that was such a what the fuck? Like, you started that and you did not see that coming because you thought you knew what you're getting into. You understood where you're going. Yeah. We knew we'd get the backstory, but we didn't know we'd get it right there, right then. And so, I think for sure, if this revenge tale is about going after Ellie's mom, we're going to open up playing as Ellie's mom.
I agree. You open up during the outbreak.
We will be in Anna, and we will see all hell break loose, and her
it'd be like
get strung up.
Basically the mirroring of Joel and Sarah during the outbreak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think the same thing if they're doing the mother story.
No. Michael Knight's excellent Last of Us Part 2 segment continues. Will we see Bill in this story?
Yeah. I think at the very least Bill. Sorry, I got Bill mixed up with Joel's brother. Yeah. Oh man, Bill. I think. Oh man, it'd be like a stretch as far as like coming across Bill, but maybe Ellie knows Bill could be good for something in her journey, so maybe she then doubles back because of that. I'm gonna say yeah. I think Bill's awesome, so I'm gonna say yeah.
I think Bill's
pages
awesome.
Are sticky.
Bill's awesome. He was beloved. He was a great representation character in the game or whatever. I don't think he shows up. No. I think that's too hokey. I think
we get kind of throwaway line references to him, and
I think
like
there'll
that.
be, if you dig around enough, you'll find something that gives you a clue as to what's going on with him. You know what I mean? Of like a postcard, or like it's not a postcard. There's not really mail anymore. But you know what I mean? Like when we ran into Bill, or when we went back to visit Bill, or when we did whatever. But I don't think you'll actually see Bill again in there. Now here's where we get into some really inside baseball for us kind of
All
stuff.
right.
What records do you see The Last of Us Part 2 setting for PlayStation? You might say, what setting or records did it set for the first time around? I went to Wikipedia where it says, within 7 days of its release, The Last of Us sold over 1.3 million units, becoming the biggest video game launch of 2013 at the time. 3 weeks after its release, the game sold over 3.4 million units and was deemed the biggest launch of an original game since 2011's L.A. Noire, and the fastest-selling PlayStation 3 game of 2013 at the time. The game became the best-selling digital release on the PlayStation Store for PlayStation 3, though numerical sales figures were not disclosed. This record was later beaten by Grand Theft Auto 5. By April 2018, the game sold 17 million copies across both consoles because it's bringing in remastered. It is the third best-selling PlayStation 3 game of all time. Now, for context, after everything I just read, I went to, of course, Spider-Man's wiki. This is what that says. Spider-Man sold 3.3 million units, including those bundled with the PlayStation 4 console, in its first 3 days of release, making it the fastest-selling second-party video game released in Sony's history, narrowly beating God of War's 3.1 million. Now, of course, that's a bit fishy with terminology because God of War is 100% a first-party title. They say second-party, but as you know, I got in an argument with Insomniac on Twitter. Insomniac and PlayStation consider Spider-Man a first-party title as well.
I don't think it beats Spidey.
No. I mean, like, I shouldn't say I wish. Obviously, I love Spider-Man and I love Insomniac.
Yeah.
It's
the license.
Spider-Man.
It's the property.
That's Spider-Man, yeah.
It's a video game as video game. It's easily gonna outsell its Last of Us 1 in the first 3 weeks. There are more PS4s out there, and this is the second iteration of the franchise.
And that's the thing, yeah, exactly. It's a number 2 on the game that now people understand and they know. And
people know Last of Us is like one of the greatest games of the generation, last gen.
So what do you like? I mean, within its first 7 days of release, The Last of Us sold over 1.3 million units. What do you think it does in its first week, or do you think, if you want to go different, like in terms of like Spider-Man's talking about?
What is God of War's 3.1 million? Is that the first 3 days?
Yeah, according to this article that I have not. I mean,
Oh.
Wikipedia. I don't have the thing in front of me. Hold on. God of War, PS4, first.
How do you think it does compared to God of War? Because
Yeah,
I would have
3.1 million is God of War in the first 3 days.
Oh man,
Becomes the fastest selling PlayStation 4 exclusive.
and Spider-Man sold 3.3 million in 3 days. Because I would have thought that Last of Us Part 2 could easily outsell. Well, maybe not easily, but would outsell God of War.
You think so?
I would have thought so, but now seeing how high that sold, I didn't realize it sold 3.1 million compared to Spider-Man's 3.3 million in the first 3 days. I think it'll be in the ballpark. I think I could see 3 million, 3 million. I think it'll hit that.
You think it'll sell 3 million copies in the first 3 days?
Yeah,
All right. I like where your head's at.
because at this point, Last of Us compared to God of War, like those are very much in terms of people knowing what it is, and in terms of
God of War had to
people showing up.
reprove itself, and people still
Yeah.
bought in. Whereas, like, the name of Last of Us is still, like, Last of Us doesn't have to reprove itself because the last game that came out, people weren't, like,
I hear you, and I understand. My prediction for the first 3 days of Last of Us Part 2.
The thing that God of War also has is that it's been a Sony franchise since the
That's where I'm at.
2000s.
Yeah.
It's
For
not
me,
like
good
so
point.
let me. I think Last of Us. I'm saying between 2 and 2.5 million the first 3 days.
Okay.
And I would say more towards 2. I think what we're talking about here is, and this sounds fucking really weird and stuffy, but stick with me. We're talking about a beloved art house flick versus some AAA blockbuster in Last of Us versus God of War. God of War, like for real, was that system. I mean, on PS2 days,
Yeah.
right? That everybody fucking had and loved it for different reasons. God of War PS4 was the payoff to all of that and that fandom and being an art house flick, right? Like, I think the people who only buy God of War games bought God of War not realizing it was this what was going to be a critically acclaimed reinvention of the character and genre, right? Whereas, like, that's what drew me and many a podcast video game fan into God of War, where it had been like, God of War games are fun action games, so they're not like, wow, you know what I mean? It, like, to an extent, right, that'd be like Bayonetta, them redoing Bayonetta, and it's suddenly, here's a fucking amazing story that, like it's tugging your heartstrings and doing all these different things. Like, that was on another level. That is, it has God of War has the God of War PS4 sales figures have the juice of critically acclaimed, it's getting 10 out of 10s reviews that
Yeah.
Last of Us Part 2 will probably have. However, I don't think Last of Us Part 2 has the generation lineage to ride in there and be like, oh, fucking Kratos.
I think now, it doesn't have that since the PS2, but now since Last of Us Part 1, it's been 7 years and it's had that time to kind of, is the word gestate? That feels like a weird word,
that's
but
right.
it's had the time to gestate and kind of sit with people and sit with an audience and sit with like the larger gaming community that now, like, everybody knows what The Last of Us is. Like, everybody's aware. Everybody knows that as like one of the great stories of this last gen, right? That is people put that up there as like maybe the best PlayStation franchise, I guess, if you want to say. Yeah, man. I'm gonna stick to my 3 million. Like, I think it has similar power behind it as God of War.
Hold on, I want to put this in there. So 3 million for Bless. What did you say, Barrett?
I don't know if I put it in anything specific. I'm gonna.
Would you like to?
What did God of War do in 3 days?
3.1 million. Spider-Man did 3.3 million.
I'm gonna say 3.2.
Wow. All right. So then I'm saying 2 million-ish. Bless says 3 million. Barrett says 3.2.
Yeah, I'm saying 3 million with also, I think there is a chance, like a small chance, but a chance that it outsells Spider-Man.
Wow. I hope so. Final question from Michael Knight on this one big question. And it's great, Michael. You did great. Will the story of The Last of Us 2 match or be better than the original game?
I think we kind of talked about this on, I think, the first episode of P.S. I Love You.
Well, you're talking about it again now, motherfucker.
Yeah. I think it's hard to think about them comparatively because they're part of the same story. It feels like it being a part 1 and part 2 situation. I'm going to say, what's the question? Match or be better? Is that how
Yeah.
I'm going to say match. Like, it's hard for me to really think of a way to present The Last of Us story better than The Last of Us. But like, I don't know, man. I think if I was Neil Druckmann and I was following up The Last of Us, my goal would be to, hey, let's just continue the story and let's just like make something that's true to what we've presented here and continue on and make it feel like it is like a natural evolution and progression of what Ellie's journey is.
Yeah, I'm with you. That, I mean, they've been very clear of like, this isn't The Last of Us 2. This is Last of Us Part 2. They are, 2 parts of the same story. I hope that it matches so that it feels cohesive. I want it to feel cohesive. I want to play this and be like, I get it.
Yeah, like
I get that this isn't a 2. This is the continuation.
Like, you're not missing a beat.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it should be. Ladies and gentlemen, let's, for the first time in a while, check in with the PS I Love You Fantasy Critic page.
Oh, have things changed?
Oh, things have been changing,
Oh.
ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, weeks ago, the one and only Gio, Callie, Jonathan Dornbush all joined us for the what? You like how only Dornbush is the only one who gets his full name because I can't say it.
No, I thought it was the one and only, and then you listed like 4 different people.
It's true. Joined us for like a meeting of the minds here, so we could all start this Fantasy Critic League. PS I Love You XOXO, and I forget what is it. Another one of the kind of funny links I didn't bring over. You go back and find me what the link was because I think it's kindoffunny.com/PS League. But if you just look at whatever 2 of them back, you'll find it. However, so we had the whole things here, right? Me with Portillo Publishing, Blessing with Rapstar Games, Callie with Team Magma, Gio with Big Belly Games, Jonathan Dornbush with Betwixt and Between Gaming.
Kindoffunny.com/PS League.
Thank you so much if you want to look along. Of course, we did a whole draft there. We did all these things. Somebody's finally on the board, Blessing. And it's me, baby.
Things have happened.
It's me. Of course, one of the games I picked, ladies and gentlemen, was Blood Roots, which is officially out now. This is from Open Critic, right, where they're pulling the scores.
Yes, Open Critic.
Blood Roots currently has in a 78, giving me 8 points. So I have 8 points on the boards here right now. Thank you very much. Points actual is 8.15 right now. I'm also down $2 in my budget because I got some games here. I went in and got Carry On. No, I already had Carry On, right? I added Outriders. When Outriders started rolling in, you had already been out there fleecing us all, putting in $1 bids on things, and I was like, you know what? I got to get some of that. So I jumped in there and put Outriders on there. So that's where I'm going right now.
Nice pick.
Yeah.
I went in last week to try and grab one that I thought everybody had forgotten. And I went in and I typed in MLB The Show.
Yeah.
Turns out I couldn't pick it up because it's a yearly installment.
Yeah, exactly. There was a couple. That was the same thing when like Dreams was like, how did nobody pick Dreams? Like,
Yeah.
oh, early access, right? Because of early access, we couldn't do it.
Oh
or
man,
whatever.
if somebody got Dreams, I think I was the one who tried to do it and it didn't pop up. And
that would have been a good one.
that would have been a great
really,
one.
really good
that
one.
would have done great.
And then I forget. Last time we did the update, did we talk about Jonathan picking up Maneater? Because he picked up Maneater. That
yeah,
shark
we
thing. All right.
talked about it, and I didn't realize
Didn't
until
he pick up something else too?
and Little Nightmares too. I didn't realize he had picked
good
up.
pick.
Well, I realized he's picked up Maneater. I didn't know what Maneater was, and then I researched it afterwards, and I am surprised that's a game that he picked up. Honestly, it's and not that
You play as the shark, right?
Yeah, he plays a shark.
Yeah.
And not that I typed in Maneater. I got
Hall &
John
Oates.
Oates. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I looked it up, and not that it's gonna be like a bad game or anything, because it looks like it could be a good game. But I was just surprised that the game where you play as a shark was the game that he.
Hey man, he saw something in it, right? I saw something in Bloodroots. There you go.
I respect
That's how
it.
it is. You saw nothing in nobody.
Wow.
It's poetic.
Yeah, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, that's PS I Love You. XO for another week. If you didn't remember, next week's is a very, very special episode. We hit double digits. Episode 10 of PS I Love You XOXO Volume 2. We're celebrating with the PlayStation Underrateds, where we will go through our picks for the most underrated PlayStation games along with yours. If you're at home, I suggest you buy your own bottle of bourbon and or alcohol now, because you will need it to keep up with us as we go through championing all sorts of different games. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, PS I Love You XOXO is a product of kindafunny.com. You can go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. You can get the show ad-free along with the post show we're about to do. That's right, more content, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. You can watch it live as we record it and sometimes get included like Barrett did with the one guy from the chat earlier today. Remember, if you don't want to do any of that, no big deal. You can go to youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe. Get it each and every Tuesday morning. No matter where or how you get the show, thank you for your support. We love and appreciate you. And until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.